What's good with it, Black Goose TV family, man? Double salute as always. It's your boy Fluence. I'm back at it again. Look, man. Look, man. I told y'all yesterday, I'm getting back into the swing of things. I'm getting back into being consistent when it comes to the YouTube channel. I'm getting back and doing what needs to be done. Y'all feel me? Because look, like I said, I took a hiatus. I was gone for a minute. I had to get, back into the rhythm of things. It's like, if you ain't worked out for a minute, you just can't go full force. You kind of got to work your way lightly into it. But look, I promise y'all for real, we back like it never happened. We back like we never left. The prodigal son has returned. We back on the regular schedule. I'm going to be giving y'all the lives consistently. When it comes to the videos, like the little short length videos, I'm gonna work on that. There's a lot of things I need to work on, you feel me, to get back to where or the type of time I was on beforehand. But nonetheless, man, let's keep it slow, let's keep it simple. And the lives is definitely back in full effect. And like I was also saying yesterday, what better week to do it than the week of what a lot of people say is the biggest fight that's going to be happening in the last 10 years, possibly on the same scale and level of when Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao finally was announced. Now, I don't know if it's going to be that big. And y'all can see I got my questions because in the title below, I'm saying, is this overhyped? Are we a little bit too hyped for this? Are we going to be let down? We'll get into that a little bit later. But once again, man, double salute to the people. Much love to everybody up out there. Keep rocking with me because on everything, man, we're going to keep the consistency with the channel. We only going up from here, man. I know I've been mad inconsistent, but here we finally got it. I got everything tuned in, dialed in, and I got some big plans, man. I got some big plans to make sure that, the content keeps flowing. And not only does the content keep flowing, but the presentation also, goes nothing but up. You feel me? But that's for later talks. That's for a whole nother time. We don't need to get into the specifics of that, man. We here right now, man. And what we're going to be talking about, obviously, is what everyone is talking about. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in the boxing community, why would you not be talking about it? It's the, it's the word around town. Terence Crawford, Errol, Spence is the biggest news. There's really nothing more bigger than that right now when it comes to boxing. Obviously, we had a great fight yesterday when it comes to Inoue versus Fulton. And Inoue did exactly what I expected him to do. Respect to Fulton, he was a warrior. We're gonna maybe talk about that a little bit, but the majority of this particular live stream, I have not watched the all accesses when it comes to Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. There's been two of them, right? Now I'm not gonna watch both of them. I'm definitely not going to do that. So I don't think I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna react to two 30-minute all accesses. That's definitely not gonna happen. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna watch a little bit of the first episode since I haven't seen it at all. Just kind of take it in a little bit, see, what was going on when it comes to that. And then also I'm probably going to pull up a couple of interviews as well, react to some of those. But for the majority of this particular live, I'm just kind of going to be reacting to some content, kind of putting in my opinion on it. And, it's going to be a smooth transition when it comes to that particular topic and subject. But once again, man, salute to the people, double salute, man. If y'all come up in here, hit the like button, show some love on that like button side of the game. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you feel me? Hopefully show some love. And if you don't subscribe, you don't like the video, at the end of the day, I appreciate you hopping up in here and just watching, because, we making moves. We back on the consistent side of the game. But yeah, man, hopefully y'all had a good Tuesday, before we get right into that boxing content. Hopefully y'all had a good Tuesday. Hopefully everything went good. If y'all went to work, if y'all didn't, maybe you work late, whatever the case may be. Hopefully everything was solid for y'all, man. Blessings and upon blessings to everybody up out there. Let's talk about it in here early. What's good with it? Let's talk about how you feeling, man. I hope the beginning of the week is good for everybody out there, because y'all know, man, you out there, you hustling, you working, you putting in that time, you doing what you got to do, to make a living, pay a living. It gets stressful and get hard. So I just want to say blessings upon blessings to everybody who's putting in that work, making sure they get that change so they can go ahead and make sure everything paid for and they ain't got to worry about nothing, especially when they get back to the crib to relax. Because it's the relaxed time, you put in the work all day. This is the relaxed time. So I hope everyone's good, everyone's blessed, everyone's you might be a little stressed, but hopefully it's not too much where is getting in the way of everything. You feel me? But salute. What's good with it? Let's talk about it. What's good? Anybody else up in here? As always, man, hop in the chat, say what you got to say. Don't hold back. If you want to, at any point in the time, I can drop the link and y'all can come up in here. It don't matter at all. It was a rough day, but a good one. Pop's birthday was today, man. All right, man. Man, I know it. I already know what you're talking about, man. I understand that, man. Hopefully, that's always something that you got to do with because it's a remembrance type thing. Because I'm like, you remember the good things, but then also it's like you want to remember it. You know what I'm saying? While the person is there, so I already know what you're talking about. Trust me, and you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, just try and just remember the good times. You feel me? Remember and cherish the good times because even though I'm assuming you probably can't be there with him to enjoy his birthday, still do your best to just be like, yo, this was a good times and we had some great moments and let that be the forefront, even though it's hard, man. I know how that is, man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Everyone get a turn. And you gotta appreciate that. And see, that's one thing, man. That's really a solid mindset to have because when you have that type of mindset, you also understand what is a turn. A turn is something that you have for this, certain amount of time and then you don't have. You know what I'm saying? So if you keep that in remembrance, you know what I'm saying? If it's your turn, just remember it's not always going to be your turn. And when it's not your turn, it is what it is. So appreciate your turn while it's here. It's going to be lows, it's going to be ups, it's going to be mids, whatever the case may be. Just do your best to kind of just be in the moment and accept it for what it is. So for sure, man. I just got nothing but love to everybody up out there. Let's talk about it. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I just want to say blessings to everybody, man. Hopefully everything's going good, and if it's not going good, it gets better. And y'all just keep your mind focused, keep moving, keep grooving. You know what I'm saying? Stay positive as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? Embrace the good, don't embrace the bad. You know what I'm saying? Just keep your mind on what needs to be kept on. You feel me? So, with that being said, y'all, obviously the most talked about subject, the most talked about topic right now in boxing, as it should be. Big fight coming up this particular weekend. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it was a big, we talked about it a lot last night on the live. It was a good live. I enjoyed it a lot. Shout out to Dub. Shout out to Let's Talk About It. Shout out to everyone, R West, that was up in it. Nothing but a good time. But you know what I'm saying? It's like really right now in boxing, you can't talk about anything other than that particular fight, obviously, because it's at the forefront. And so what a lot of people are saying is going to be history, or it is history in the making. It's going to be probably one of the biggest fights that we've had maybe in the last decade. It's something everybody's been waiting on. It's something that should have been happened. It's something that even though it maybe not happened when we wanted it to be, but now as it's happening, it's even bigger, et cetera, et cetera. But I got a couple questions, man. I got a couple questions when it comes to the whole thing because I like to look at it from a different perspective, right? And you probably heard this from me before, but as y'all can see in the title down below, one of my perspectives is, are we overhyping this just a little bit too much? Are we giving a little bit too much credibility to this fight happening than we should? It's kind of like you got to think about this. If you was in the desert, right? You was in the desert, you wasn't able to go anywhere. Maybe it was like a challenge, like, yo, you got to be in the desert 3 days. It's kind of wild, hypothetical, but just bear with me. 3 days, you got to be in the desert. You don't get to have anything other than water, right? Before you was in that situation, food was a normal thing, right? Eating food wasn't really nothing. You get hungry, you eat food. But when you in that situation, 3 days, only water in the desert, you make it. Now you're able to eat food. Food is like just immaculate. It's one of the biggest things that ever happened. But then when you really just look back at it, it's like, well, food is just a normal, everyday thing. We have food. We have access to food on a daily basis. But because it was deprived from me for those 3 days, I put it on a pedestal. And my question is, if y'all follow it, is this the same thing happened with Earl Spence for Terence Crawford? Because my personal opinion, I think this fight, and I think a lot of people feel this way, but because it's happening now, all of a sudden people aren't talking about it. Because it's very interesting to me that only a year ago, you can even say 6 months, year and a half, whatever the case may be, a lot of people were saying, well, it's too little too late. Like, a lot of people were saying like these dudes is older now. Now maybe they're not past their prime, maybe they're right on their prime, maybe they're on the cusp of leaving out of their prime, whatever the situation may be. A lot of people said we should have got this fight 2-3 years ago, and that was the biggest complaint. Now that the fight is made, everyone is just throwing a ball on it, and they're making it seem like, oh my God, this is crazy, and I can't wait for this, I can't wait for that. So many different things, right? So is this just a situation where they did a beautiful job of keeping something away from us as boxing fans, and finally when it's made, when you really look at it, it's too little too late, but we're not willing to acknowledge that because we've been craving it for so long, right? And does that mean that this is overhyped? I'm just throwing out questions. That's it. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right. I'm just trying to get y'all to see something from a different perspective. But before we get into that specifically, like I said, man, maybe many of y'all have seen the All Access. Maybe y'all already, you know what I'm saying, went through it, watched it to a T. Respect to y'all. I haven't watched it. And I'm not saying I'm finna watch all of it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just gonna watch a little bit. I'm gonna throw that joint on. I just want to see, kind of get a vibe from it, get a feel from it. Um, but I'm not even gonna lie to you. This live is kind of it's really for me too, because I need to get. Maybe my problem is me thinking that this is overhyped is because I'm not hyped enough. Because I ain't been following the interviews. I ain't been watching the all accesses. I ain't been doing none of that. I just been like, I seen since the fight has been made. Even when the fight was made, I was like, okay, that's dope. But at the same time, something in me was just like, why am I not as excited for this as I should be? And I see a lot of other people excited for it, and you should be. I respect that. But it's just something in me. I was just like, man, I don't know why. It's just, I feel like they playing a game with us as boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Now, see, a fight that I wake up for, Jamel Charlo Canelo, right? Because that's out of the blue. That's out of the blue. And then it's like so many people wanted Canelo to fight Jamal. He was running from the Charlos, not necessarily Jamel, but running from Jamal, all this type of thing. Nobody was even talking about Canelo versus Jamel. And then it's made. Two undisputed. Like that's crazy. That's a fight where I'm like, yo, I can't wait for this. That's wild. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I'm not saying I'm not excited for it. I'm just saying maybe it's too little too late. Maybe. But all right, I'm gonna throw this episode on. I'm gonna make sure that the music ain't loud, so I don't get copyrighted. I don't really care if I get copyrighted. So I'm gonna watch a little bit of this, get my feel of it, respond, and let y'all know how I'm feeling about this all access. You feel me? It's crazy how YouTube be having ads now. Well, they've been had ads, but I'm like the ads where you accidentally like press them and it goes to some different shit. All right, let me turn this up. I'm doing hard as hell for that run.
This what, everybody clamors over. The best fighting the best. Terence Crawford, 39-0, me 28-0. He has a title. I have 3 titles. And this is for the undisputed. So I feel like this is a legacy fight.
I'm happy that the fight is here, but I'm not satisfied until my hand is raised July 29th. I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. I think we're going to fight the shit out of each other. This is my moment to shine. I'm prepared to do whatever I have to do.
This is an old school fight. This is what my dad used to talk to me about. When he used to watch fights 40 years ago when you had Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard and all the greats, the 4 Kings, and people adored them because they're really competitive fighters, blood and guts. Terence Crawford has that dog mentality. I have that dog mentality. And then you put us together, you're going to have an all-out war action-packed fight, old school, just like the greats.
Hey man, I like how we started.
For anyone who hasn't noticed, super fight season has made a triumphant. But this fight, it stands alone.
So let me say this. This is probably why I have this overhyped narrative, right? Because I like what the narrator said, and I kind of spoke on this yesterday in the live, right? He said super fight season has kind of came back. Like it's this year we have so many fights that a lot of people will be like, oh my God, I never thought they would have, been made or happened, and they show Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. They showed Ryan Garcia versus Javante Tank Davis. A lot of people are going to say and they should, Canelo, Jamel Charlo. Some are even going to put Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury, even though Ngannou is not in boxing, but it still is a super fight, regardless of what anybody wants to say. That's just what it is, right? And you know, I'm probably missing some. Like I want to say Anthony Joshua versus Dillian White 2 is a super fight, but maybe to the UK, that's a big fight that they've been waiting for a long time. But the idea of the fights that you thought wouldn't happen are happening now, and this being the year for it, you know, we should be appreciative of it. I'm not saying I'm not appreciative of it. What I am saying is there's just something about these super fights where the hype is there, but the fight isn't. Does that make sense? And I might be completely wrong. This is my opinion right now. So just please take it that way. But me personally, Benavidez versus Caleb Plant, it was a good fight, but it went how we expected it to go. So is that what? Let me finish actually. Before I say that point. Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, solid fight, but it went how we were supposed to go. We don't know how. You know, this fight hasn't happened, but is it going to go how we expect it to go? Canelo versus Jamel Charlo isn't going to go how we expect it to go. Tyson Fury versus Ngannou isn't going to go how we expect it to go. What I'm saying is that what we are putting as super fights now? Because I feel like there's this difference of, and I think that's where this particular fight is elevated. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, because the skill levels, weight classes, you know, from the eye test is very on par with each other, and you have a 50-50 split on who's going to win, right? But when we're talking about some of these other super fights, right, a lot of people kind of already expected how the outcome to go. Even Fulton versus Inoue, you kind of know what's going to happen, but you're just hoping for something a little bit different. So what I'm trying to say is, has super fights changed into an aspect of popularity? Because obviously we're in 2023, social media age. We want to see these two fight, but maybe are we overhyping the skill level? We know who's going to win. We know, well, not who's going to win, but we know who's on a higher skill level. We know who's the better boxer. We know who should win the fight. But because you're fighting this other guy that has this popularity level, maybe undefeated, and it's like this makes sense for it to happen, there's a possibility of a different outcome. Does that make sense? Even when Bivol versus Ramirez happened, right? So that's all I'm saying. And let's talk about, I'll say this is really a 50-50 fight. And I do agree with that. Like, that's why I said I do think Terence Crawford, Gervonta Tank Davis Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence is elevated above everything else I said, because this is you have a 50-50 split with a lot of, you have a lot of people saying Terence, a lot of people saying Errol Spence, right? But when we talk about these other super fights, it's like you kind of like, everyone's leaning toward that one person, but we're like, well, but damn, I really did want to see him fight him. So maybe there might be upset type, but the other person's popularity is on such a high level, i.e. Ryan Garcia, that you're hoping that the outcome or the fight goes a little bit differently than what you expect. But when the fight ends, you're like, well, yeah, I figured that. But I really like Ryan Garcia, so I was hoping this happened. I was tuning in. So I hope that made sense. I know that it may sound all over the place, but I'm just saying is, our super fights, are they different now? Super fights went from, because I'm like, even Errol Spence, when he was talking about with his pops, like Hagler, Hearn, like these top phenomenal fighters, skill level was 50-50, and it was just about who's better. Where now super fights are more so like, well, that guy's super popular, that guy's super popular, I want to see them fight together. So that's all I'm saying. I will say though, this is a super fight because it is two top level skilled opponents in Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. I think it's a lot different. I do consider Canelo versus Jamel as a super fight. The only thing that kind of is a disadvantage to Jamel is, he's smaller. He's never fought weight classes as big, as Canelo. You feel me? But I think that's a super fight. Ron Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, I didn't think that was a super fight. I thought that was a mega star fight. There's a difference. So yeah, anyways, let's go back to this.
Two of the greatest boxers alive facing off in their primes. Who wins? Not even Vegas could predict. All this screams vintage, classic. And to make it happen, Spence and Crawford sealed the deal with a phone call. How delightfully old school.
First time we talked probably like 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
And I just let them know, like, hey, what's up? Let's fight. I've been calling these guys out since 2018.
Hey, look, who do you want next?
Well, you already know who I want.
I feel like I'm the guy that really made it happen. I want to fight Terence Crawford. I don't want to fight anybody else.
On Saturday, July 29th, two undefeated champions will zone in on legacy.
This era is the Terence Crawford era.
Definitely not, man. You ain't fought nobody, man. What did I do to shine for the attention?
He call himself the big fish, right? But what you do when the fish get took out the water, you suffocate.
We gonna roll him up and smoke him.
When Errol Spence and Terence Crawford scrap for an undisputed welterweight crown, they'll have each other, dance partners in lockstep, each offering to summon magic, artistry, and brilliance, unlike ever before. That's the old school part, the enticing part. Boxing at its most compelling, risk-embracing rock'em sock'em best. The true parts.
When I win this fight, there'll be no argument who's the best fighter in the world. Oh, I feel as if I was made for this moment.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Boxing doesn't come much bigger. For this clash, have the history books ready. Because if those best selves can recall past eras, then old school will, in a way, be refreshingly new.
We know what's at stake. May the best man win.
Access. Like I said, I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. I actually like doing this because it gives me kind of content or ideas for me to talk about something. And what came to my mind is I've always respected Errol Spence. I've always, you know what I'm saying, said how good he was, all those type of things. But I have always, rightfully so, admittedly so, been a bigger Terence Crawford fan, right? And being a Terence Crawford fan, a lot of boxing, you know what I'm saying, people will come at me and they'll be like, well, if Crawford's so good, why is he ducking? Why is he ducking? And you know what I'm saying, if y'all follow my channel for a minute, a lot of my content was always based off of trying to explain the business of things, trying to explain why certain fights don't happen. What I find interesting, and like it almost makes me want to like change the title of this live, but I'm not even gonna go there. But what I find interesting is what I'm not hearing when it comes to this fight being made. Like I like even yesterday, like, you know, talking to Dub, you know, and R West, and they, you know, they both Errol Spence fans, but hearing them, it was all about the fight, right? Which is good. That's a good thing. But before this fight happened, the only reason the fight wasn't made was because Terence Crawford is a duck, right? It's so interesting now, though, that this fight is made and no one is speaking about the business side of it being made. Does that make sense? The business side of this actually happening. And so let me break this down. What I mean by that is, isn't it very interesting? Terence Crawford isn't with Bob Arum anymore. He's his own boss. Now the fight's made. The fight's happening. The fight is done. It's a done deal. But no one's speaking on that. When for the longest, when it came to the criticism that came to Terence Crawford was, well, you ducking, da-da-da-da. And he made it clear, you have to understand, Bob Arum is looking for a bigger bag because he is signed with Top Rank. So if you want to make something happen, we're looking for a different type of cut. As soon as Terence Crawford is not with them, and that was one of the biggest things when he fought David Avisan. A lot of people were saying, well, why would you fight him? You're ducking the smoke, all this type of things. What's the excuse now? So I'm like, to me, that's just mad. That's just the boxing world, and that's why I probably have such a big beef with the boxing world. It's so funny that the fights have been made now, and no one is even speaking on the fact where I was like, okay, beforehand, everyone was on Bud a duck. If Bud was a duck, he would have definitely made sure he didn't make this fight happen now that he has control of his whole entire future. But now the fight has been made. So what was the real reason why this fight wasn't being made before? Because Terence has been trying to tell y'all what the reason was. But everyone had the same excuse. Let's talk about said Errol made it happen by not fighting. That doesn't make sense, though. Let's talk about it. No fights happen because you don't fight. That makes no sense at all. You have to give credit where credit is due. Terence Crawford did a very beautiful play where he made sure that he showed his worth outside of Bob Ehrman Top Rank by taking that Evie and Son fight with the promotion that no one even knows about now. Looked like it was going to do something, but now it's not doing something. But he got paid his money, and now he's in a position where he's co-promotion with PBC. Because as much as I love Andrade, y'all know I love Andrade. Andrade is my dude. Andrade signed the actual promotional deal with PBC. Terence Crawford didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. So you tell me how his worth isn't there. So I'm like, don't say Errol Spence made this. And that's something I would love to debate with somebody who say, oh, Errol Spence is the one who made this fight happen. No, he didn't. Errol Spence doesn't make any fights happen because he's on the PBC. PBC chooses and dictates what works, what is financially beneficial for them. All right, I'm gonna give you a second. I'm gonna throw this all access back up because I'm like, you sounding crazy. I'm like, by him not fighting, that doesn't make any difference. I'm like, Errol Spence could have fought whoever he wanted. Him choosing not to fight doesn't allow Terence Crawford to step in and make a deal. PBC is only going to make a deal with Terence Crawford if it makes financial sense for them. Terence Crawford is only going to agree to that deal if it makes financial sense for him. He would have not gotten the agreement he would have gotten now if he did not take the risk of fighting David Avison on Black Prime, BLAK Prime, and showing, yo, look, this is what my worth is outside of Top Rank. And then he secured the bag. Real entrepreneur shit. I got nothing but respect for him, man. We gotta stop acting like Errol Spence has all this control. Errol Spence is the A side. Errol Spence is the A side because he's with the bigger promotion. The bigger promotion, and I'm not talking about his promotion, because he does have a promotional company, but that promotional company is also under PBC.
A showdown like this, Titan versus Titan, pretty much sells.
Whoops.
Much sells itself. Still, the camps descend on New York City to sell anyway, leaving nothing to chance. And it's obvious, they're here for a fight.
I gotta go there. I got an undisputed champ. Hey, keep your ass out there. What's up? I said, what's going on? Stupid? You stupid? What should you with me? I said, what's going on? I said, what's up? I said, what's going on? I said, what's up? I said, what's up? Man, he about to get choked out or something. But really, it was like his boy on the outside was talking. Yeah, look at me. They think I'm a pawn. I just got a suit on.
The 3 for me, only at Chili's.
That was crazy, that interaction. That was kind of extra right there from Spencer's trainer. He must have known the camera was on. Because I'm like, he didn't say nothing. He just said, what's going on? That was extra. Let's talk about it. I feel like both made it happen, meaning that I will put my belts up before I fight someone. Crawford let me said, let me see the books, fair game. So I agree with you there. Let's talk about it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they both didn't have a hand or a play in this happening. What I'm just trying to put out there is a lot of people before this fight was agreed to and confirmed put solely the blame on the fight not happening on Terence Crawford. Now that the fight has happened, why is not anybody giving Terence Crawford credit for the fight happening? Does that make sense? That's all I'm saying. I think it's very interesting. Before, the blame was entirely on Terence Crawford. He's finally out of Top Rank, or even when he was with Top Rank, he's ducking. He just wants to fight Top Rank fighters. He doesn't want to come over to PBC. Blah blah blah. He's out of the Top Rank deal. oh, he took that fight with David Avison and he's scared to fight Errol Spence. Now the fight has happened. Crickets. No one's talking about who should get credit for the fight happening. Errol Spence should get credit for it. Fair enough. But he's still back behind a very big promotional company in PBC. So regardless, he has the ability for any fight to happen because he has that machine behind him. Terence Crawford is by himself. Why is nobody coming back and saying, well, let me take back some of the shit I said about Terence Crawford? He made the fight happen. He had just as much to do with this fight happen as Errol Spence and the machine behind him. That's all I'm saying. No one is giving him credit. Niggas is quiet. Niggas had nothing to say. Bob was trying to young bull Crawford and it was a lack of respect. I don't agree with that. Let's talk about it. And the reason why I don't agree with that is because, I'm like, one of the main foundations of my channel when I started was I tried to really get people to understand how this business works. And people do have an understanding of it, but a lot of people always want to be like, well, if you a fighter, just fight. Which that don't make sense. Like, niggas got to make livings. People don't understand. Bob never fucked over Crawford in the sense of, I'm going to keep you from being great. Crawford was making more money than Errol Spence, more money than a lot of these popular fighters. When he after he beat Gamboa, nigga was making $1 million every time he fight. $1 million up. So he was getting paid good. It's just Bob. When it comes to Bob was doing the same thing Al Heyman was doing with PBC. Like, yo, I don't want you to fight against somebody else in a different promotional company if we're not getting the benefits or we're not getting the, the pay structure, or we're not getting the split that I feel like you deserve. I can't have you under my promotion and you're my A fighter. We go fight another promotional company's A fighter and they're saying you're the B fighter. That just don't work. That devalues my brand. Because when you leave, this is still my brand. So if I can say, oh, well, I'm going to devalue my fighter against another company and show that he's a B-side, they're going to think I'm going to do that continuously. So it's like, I understand it. It's like, it has nothing to do with trying to do nothing to Crawford. It's just business. PBC wanted to make that money because that's shining a light on being your own entity. Look, I hear you, let's talk about it, but you can't be your own entity under a company. I'm saying this, I work for someone. I can't root and hoop and holler and be like, nigga, I'm my own self-made man, but I still got a job and I got a boss. Even if I am getting money on the side, if you really your own entity, you take that chance and your own individual. So I'm like, that it's like, I don't understand why people argue that, because I'm like, that is not true. You can't be your own entity under a company. That's just not possible. You can coexist. So I'm like, that's why I was like, I respect him as a promoter. I respect PBC. I respect Al Heyman. I respect him. But it's just like, I be wanting boxing fans to understand there is no difference between the Eddie Hearns, the Bob Arums, the Al Heymans, the Leonard Ellabys, all these niggas, Oscar De La Hoyas, they're all the same. But it's like, for some reason, we want to put PBC and we want to put Al Heyman in this different aspect where it's like, nah, they're not like the rest of them. They're all the same. And it's so hard to get that into a lot of boxing fans' heads. It's unfortunate. But it's like, no, it's all the same. It's like, we don't have to, but I think we should give respect where respect is due to someone like Terence Crawford, where he's coming into one of the biggest fights in boxing history, and there is no machine behind him. This fight is happening strictly and solely off the fact, yes, Errol Spence and PBC, they were willing to negotiate, but Terence Crawford made this happen because there is no one backing him. So he didn't have to do this, right? He didn't have to agree to certain terms, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. If I'm Crawford and I have my own promotion team, he would have showed the books to anyone else. Why not Crawford? I agree to that. But you gotta understand, Bob Arum is not a pay-per-view based system when it comes to making money. So pay-per-view points and things like that's like, why do I need to show you the books? And even when he's talking about the Al Heyman situation, Al Heyman has never worked with Crawford before. So if you've never worked with someone, I'm not going to put you in a hierarchy or I'm not going to put you in this top level position. Like, you got to show me your worth. Okay, all right, bet. Let's talk about it. But I'm like, when it comes to showing the books, like, you got to show me your worth. And that's what a lot of people didn't realize what Crawford was doing with David Avison was, all right, these, PBCs, top ranks, whatever the case, y'all don't think I'm worth nothing. But I went to this unknown BLK Prime and they showed my worth. They was willing to pay me this. Is that sustainable long term? Probably not. That's probably why he ended up being like, let's go ahead and make this deal with Errol Spence. But it boosted his profile where whoever was lowballing him was like, well, damn, now I got to kind of come correct. I don't got to come fully correct, but I got to kind of come correct, right? And we saw that similar. Triple G did the same thing. Triple G did the same thing. At the end of his career, you know what I'm saying? Triple G did a good job capitalizing off of those Canelo fights, regardless of who you think should have won, who should have lost. He did the same thing. Y'all see Canelo. Canelo was really the dude who really put that on the map. That showed like, hey, yo, you don't gotta sign long-term deals with these, major promotional companies. And even if you do, it's not in your best benefit. Make your own promotional and then do a co-promotional deal with them where you're only with them 2 or 3 fights. Now you see everyone do it. Tafimo's doing it. Like, it's a very popular thing now. Talk about said they should realize that's why I didn't get done the first time, because they were just expecting him as a promoter. That's a fact. But people don't see that. All they see is, oh, you a fighter, you was scared, all that type of stuff. That's why. But you know what? To be real with you, I think they do see that. No cap. I think they do see that, but it still comes down to this bias in their favorite fighter. Because like I said, I'm like, it's very interesting how everybody is quiet. Like, the fight's made, and anyone's been ever since the fight's been announced, because this shit is happening this weekend, and I haven't been fun. Like I said, I'm a casual now. I ain't been, deep in the waters on the deep end type when it comes to this. But it's very interesting. All anyone is talking about is who should win, who's a better fighter, but no one's talking about the fact that the fight was made, and no one's talking about Terence Crawford being a duck no more. Like, that's completely out of the conversation. It's funny. Like, it's hilarious to me. And it's like, well, why do you think the fight happened? Why do you think it ended up being made? Let's talk about it.
This is a fight that's been marinating for years. I've been preparing my whole life for this moment right here. Ain't no holding back. Not Errol, not Derek, nobody.
This is gonna be a great fight. I'm on a great show. I'm gonna show everybody why we breaking people. Make sure y'all tune in July 29th. It's gonna be another man down, and it's strap season time. Let's go face this time.
I have to take that.
Work time, y'all. Y'all ready for this? Y'all got your hot sauce? Can't wait. All right, then come prepare. Buzz, say how you got sauce.
You know that. I tell you that.
Them niggas is really cool, bro.
Can I ask, how the hell did you know I didn't eat the hot sauce? Errol. Julie,
I didn't know you didn't eat hot sauce, so that's on me.
they say you don't even eat hot sauce. I said, you know that. Inside information.
Yeah.
I didn't know you don't eat hot sauce. It's just like the old Ish, want to blame everything on both. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it feels good in here. Hey, long time no
That's
see.
crazy. Earl knew he didn't eat no hot sauce. That nigga over here asking me, how you know that?
Jersey,
Oh, yeah.
where my line up at?
I come out here a little bit, put them corner safety with
All right.
us.
The rules we got to work in right now, I can definitely not put you on it. We'll get fined and lose 3 draft picks. Wait,
I ain't even tripping, man. They're working. You up.
Just take me slow now. Because we have a game, I can go.
You the man now. Ball. What's my dog? Ball to the tail.
Errol Spence Jr.'s favorite football team long ago elevated a simple star into a symbol of success. But when Spence and his longtime trainer Derek James pop by for a visit, it's clear which star is most in demand. Even NFL icons see Spence and are starstruck.
You coming out?
Of course. I ain't got no good luck, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
You did.
Yeah, already.
You going? You watch
know
how
this.
much out, bro.
Yeah, I've been a Dallas Cowboys fan my whole life. kind of crazy and surreal, just dapping about the players and talking with them, having a conversation with them.
No, we've been talking about that.
Oh, yeah, I already know.
Good time now.
Oh, yeah. Getting that type of respect from the biggest franchise in the world just means a lot. Yeah, okay. I expect a lot of
Errol, what y'all here, man?
I spawned a great show, and like, I won the Super Bowl, but then I'm
That's what I talk about. Let me drop the link. Let me see. I do my simple real quick. All right, let me drop the link for y'all. Go for let's talk about it. More saying, y'all. Bet. Link is dropped.
And they won the Super Bowl for me later on in the year.
The fandom apparently is mutual. As star pass rusher Micah Parsons plots the transition from fight fan to fighter. Anyone down for a sports swap?
I'm in championship fight weight right now.
What if I break your nose?
3 rounds. That's all I got. He said 3 rounds.
Man,
I last 3 rounds in off season.
Gary Jones calling my people talking about what I did to you.
Friend, my friend.
Good.
All right. Good to have you out here.
Sir, yes, sir. I'm glad to be out here.
I have such an appreciation for what Errol is as a athlete. When I think of the Dallas Cowboys, I think he rises to that level of excellence in sports. What it takes to go out there,
Old as hell.
just you in the ring with one another and push through.
Old as hell.
Learn how hard it is to push through.
You positive. What's good with it? Let's talk about it.
Good with it, man. What's good with it?
Chilling, man. How you feeling, bruh?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. You know
That's
what I'm
a
saying?
wonderful thing to hear, man. So, what's up, man? You got? I'm over here. I wasn't planning on watching the whole All Access. I'm just trying to get myself hyped for the fight. I'm not even gonna lie to you because when it was announced, I was like, okay, bet it's announced. But I wasn't really following like I usually do. I wasn't following like all the media and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, now with it being the week of the fight happening, I'm trying to get myself hyped up. I'm trying to get myself like just ready for the joint. How you feeling, dog? How you feel about everything? I know we talked about it a little bit last night, but how you feeling, man?
I'm a little like you. Like I had a lot going on, so I couldn't really follow it, you know what I'm saying, like I wanted to. But I mean, I think I like it for Crawford because I think he's getting his just due. He's his own promoter. I think this will be his biggest payday of his life. He don't have to share with nobody. And I'm really not talking about how the fight got made is because, like I was saying, it's going to shine a light on him, saying that he got it done, but he's his own promoter. So if he could do it, why if I can't do it? And that might be a trend. That's what they don't want to happen, is being a trend of everybody promoting themselves and getting fights done. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think Spence got it done because he probably told about, I'm not fighting Thurman. I'm not fighting none of them. Y'all can take these belts. I want to fight him. So
Remember
that's
them rumors? Keith Thurman versus. I was just saying. Remember them rumors? Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. I knew that wasn't happening.
Right, and he was like, "Y'all can take the belts." And when you threaten to take the belts, and I'm not going to fight, that's messing up money. Who we want to see? That's what we want to see. So at that point, that's why I think he also made the fight happen. So Bob Errol had to make some type of deal with Crawford. You know what I'm saying? He probably gave Crawford something that he didn't want to give him in the beginning. Crawford probably gave them something that he didn't want to give in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I said, remember with Bob though, I'm like, he was out of his contract. I'm like, because remember he had the Avian son, because that his last fight, he made it clear, like when his last fight with Sean Porter. That's why Bob Earl kind of stepped out of his comfort zone and he made the fight with Sean Porter. Because this is one thing I stand by. I don't think Bob would have never made that deal with PBC with Sean Porter if one, they didn't already know up front, and y'all can, and like I love Terence Crawford, so this might be a knock to him, but I think they knew previously this was going to be Sean Porter's last fight. So I think in Bob's head was like, there's not going to be a rematch clause, so I don't have to deal with them anymore. I'm going to get the most out of Terence Crawford in his last fight when it comes to money. So let's make this fight happen. And it's going to benefit me as well, because even though he's not going to be my fighter after this fight, like I said before, if you have a fighter in your promotional company that's the A side to you, and another promotional company where they're the A side, if my A side guy beats him, it upholds who we are as a company even after he leaves, because I signed the best fighters. So I think that's the only reason why he made that deal, is because, like, I know Sean Porter retiring. I have confidence in Terence Crawford. There's no rematch clause. I'm willing to take this gamble. And it worked in his favor. Terence Crawford left. And I think they did expect them to try and make something work with the actual deal between Errol and Terence Crawford. But I think Al Heyman went into that. I think he was salty about the Sean Porter situation, because I don't think he thought Sean Porter was going to win, but I didn't think he was going to go that way. But, this is me all speculating. But I think he thought he could lowball Terence Crawford because he thought he was desperate because there was nobody else on the table for him. Because Eddie Hearn already said he's not interested. Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, they can't offer him anything. So he said, hey, this is all you can get. Lo and behold, BLK Prime, for the short stint they had, they spent all their money on Terence. So that was a big risk, but it worked.
And not only that, not to cut you off, not only that, Terence Crawford believed in himself and didn't take the deal they was trying to give him.
Because he could have. He gambled on himself going with the BLK Prime, because I'm like, who is BLK Prime? Like their biggest fight was a Terence Crawford fight. Like right after that, I'm like, that shit crumbled.
Anything with BLK, I'm all behind it.
I am. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just like, that was such a big risk for him to do. And it's showing even afterwards, because BLK Prime is not in that field anymore that they were trying. Like, they're not doing no boxing shit no more.
Not at all.
That shit just didn't work out.
Yeah, like I said, I think Terence Crawford is a genius. I think that he had a great career, even though it might not be as what people thought it was. And when I mean as a regular person's career, like a regular superstar career, like an Errol Spence career, like how you saw him grow. He just jumped in the fire and he started winning from the gate. Like, he was a replacement and won. You know what I'm saying? How many people be a replacement?
This is gonna sound weird, and I agree with you. Like, the comparison I would do, and people might follow this, and it's not the same far skill level, because it's definitely different. But if you look at like the UFC, John Jones being an organic like UFC championship, and then Daniel Cormier coming in being a replacement, a heavyweight, smaller dude, came up, everything. And I'm not saying Errol Spence, like, because like I said, I'm picking Terence Crawford all day, but
that's a great example.
I see it the same way, where it's like a lot of people look at Daniel Cormier, even though, John Jones, he has his tendencies where you can look at him like, but a lot of people look at Daniel Cormier like, oh, you're such a company man, I don't think Terence Crawford is a company man. I just think he made the best business decisions for him at the time, because he was not known. He was from Nebraska. The nigga who backed him was Timothy Bradley. People don't understand that.
Right.
And people hate Timothy Bradley, all because of the upset with Manny Pacquiao. So I'm like, he already had this and that against him as far as his career. So it's like, one, Timothy Bradley is a dude saying you're the best dude coming up. Two, you're already under top rank. And a lot of people say, okay, you're with top rank, so you're already a coon and all this different type of stuff. That's how influential Mayweather is, because a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people see Bob Arum the way they do, especially in our culture, is because of what Mayweather did. And they don't even realize that because they don't know the history. But like, y'all don't even, like, that shit aside, I'm like, Terence Crawford was able to overcome that. And he wasn't even in a pay-per-view profitable system. People want to say, they sell pay-per-views. Top Rank doesn't, they don't profit off of pay-per-views. Bob Arum is old school. It's all about TV.
TV, ratings, networks, and views, and things like that. Yeah, you're right.
So he was able to overcome all that, still make a bag with Top Rank, have motherfuckers hate him, his own people say he's this and he's that. And now, like, seeing this fight happen, it's just so interesting, me seeing the comments and seeing how much respect he's getting right now. I'm like,
Listen,
this shit was not happening 6 months ago. Y'all niggas was in the comments just
to me,
degrading this man.
win or
When he went,
lose,
go ahead, my bad.
he still win or lose, he still won to me.
You know they want him to lose though.
I'm saying win or lose, he still won to me because
I'm
he
the same
got
way.
he got the fight that he wanted, and he continued to still make a bag along the way and taking other fights for tune-up fights. You know what I'm
At a
saying?
good age too. I'm saying I like to argue the overhyped thing because is it too little, too late? Because what a lot of people said, but I'm like, nah, he's at a good age.
Well, he's 35, right?
That's not a bad age though for a lower weight class.
But boxing wise, to me, this is to me, I think he's more like 32, 30.
That's how I feel.
Because he hasn't taken as many shots as these other fighters has taken because he hasn't been fighting as long as these other fighters.
Who's been in more wars? Errol Spence or Terence Crawford?
Oh, all you gotta do is hear the speech.
Oh wow, that's a great point. And this is the craziest part too. A lot of people don't want to put this in the, it's so funny to me when it's like the respect that we have for like basketball players, like LeBron James, like he's older, but he was able to have a longevity because of how he took care of his body, you know, in comparison to maybe like who's someone who I don't want to say James Harden because he's still
James Harden.
I don't want to say it because he's still hooping, but I'm like he's like when he's outside of basketball.
Comes in out of shape. He be fat sometimes. He's 260, 225. You gotta lose weight. Then
you said Zion?
Huh? I'm just saying he don't be 260 or nothing like that.
I'm like that's extra. But I'm like, you're not wrong. But even like look at Zion Williamson right now. Like he's a younger player, but he has a lot of problems because he doesn't stay. And it doesn't even mean you have to live a strict lifestyle, but it's like just think about consistently trying to like LeBron is where he at. Oh, Carmelo. Think about Carmelo. His longevity isn't what he was because he didn't take working out seriously until later in his career, right? I'm not saying that's Earl.
That's a bad analogy because Carmelo a hood nigga. He just wanted the bread. He wanted the chip, but he like, man, I got bread. I'm good. Like that's a certain hood niggas. But they don't care about their body. They think
you're right. You're not wrong, but I'm just saying, like when it comes to my bad, I pressed my little side button when my phone went out. But I'm like, I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm just saying when it comes to Errol Spence, I'm like, to no fault, maybe it is fault. I don't know. All I know is I ain't never seen no video where Terence Crawford was drunk as shit and he's trying to figure out how to say his words.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Like I make that comparison with DC and John Jones, but if you want to look at it basketball wise, you can say Terence Crawford is on LeBron James level because Terence has been married for a long time and he's been a family man. So you don't see anything outside of the sport for him but being with his family. Errol Spence, when he was a young nigga, and he's still in his prime now. You like, I'm not married. I'm enjoying. Like I got a bad chick. Like I'm enjoying. Like when I'm finna have fun, I'm gonna have fun. Terence Crawford doesn't do that, and he can't because nigga got like 5 kids with the same woman.
Now, do you think
it's all about the sport?
Let me ask you a question. Do you think some of Errol Spence car accidents was due to drinking and driving, and they covered it up?
Allegedly, hell yeah. Like,
allegedly.
I
said, do you think? I ain't say, you know what I mean? So,
bro, when I saw that video of him with his girl and that nigga was like slurring his speech and stuff like that, I'm like, if this was Adrian Broner, this nigga would have got dragged.
Yes.
Because we haven't even seen Adrian Broner that drunk. And niggas call him a drunk and a fuck up.
Because he wild. He real wild. That's why he wild when he's sober.
But that's my point. I'm like, that's the crazy part. I'm like, that's not even bad though. That's what people don't understand. I'm like, he's just a wild boy. I'm like, when a video coming out, you slurring, you don't know how to talk or nothing like that. Your woman put you out there like that. And we trying to justify it. If that was Adrian Broner, that nigga would have been crucified. They'd have been like, man, this.
I think that nigga perfect. I think that nigga is. I think in the next 10 years he might can't talk. Muhammad Ali type shit.
You think that's because of the wars he puts himself in?
I think
or do you think just because?
The war. it's the car accidents and the drinking. I think it's a combination of things.
And see that, like I agree with you to say I don't ever want to put because I'm like that's intense, but it's like you got to be realistic because that's kind of what I was alluding to when I said outside of the sport where he's like people are not even talking about the car accident anymore, and I'm like that just happened what a year ago. He had two.
You understand this? I deal with the
Two.
body, right? I deal with the body, right? If you're taking shots to the head, right? Boom, regardless, whoever, and you box, you do it, you know what I mean, you wrestle, you do jiu-jitsu and all that. If you continue to take shots to the head from a kid all the way into an adult boxing, right? Then you get into not one car accident, two car accidents. Your head's getting hit again. I don't care what nobody said. Your head is getting rambled all around. You're gonna have another concussion. That means you have swelling of the brain when you have a concussion. See what I'm saying? And that's why his speech is slurred. And then you drinking on top of that, which making your body equilibrium's off. I drink too, so I'm not saying drinking.
I do too. Y'all see me right now, but I'm like,
But I ain't boxing getting hit on my head either. I ain't.
That's what I'm saying. But let's even add that to that. I've been in a couple car accidents, but nothing to that extent. But let's even add to that is he was in such bad car accidents where they're going to prescribe you something.
Prescribe you something. He for pain. And he almost lost his life. It ain't like he was in car accidents like, okay, we had a fender bender, this happened, that happened.
He got new teeth. He had to have his teeth
partials. So you mean telling me you ain't hit your head? So that's where, and nobody want to talk about that because they talk about that, then they're gonna be like, oh, he need to retire. Oh, we need to get him examined. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then box is gonna go back.
But they try to make it, but see, that's why I say, like, I just want people to be realistic when they're watching boxing to understand, like, this is a sport just like the NBA, just like the NFL. The biggest machine can control the narratives. And it's like, why are so many people focused on Terence Crawford being with Top Rank and supposedly with a racist, but they're not talking about this? And I'm gonna
tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. It's your fault. It's your fault. Why you think like? I'm gonna tell you why you think like that. And I think that way too. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when we on here, we're actually media, without realizing that we're media. We look at things down the middle. You know what I'm saying? Even though we might be biased here, I'm biased with Booth because I'm from Philly. You know what I'm saying? But I will still call it down the middle. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, people that's on here making comments and things like that, they're not media. They're just fans. So fans going to have their opinion about who they like, and they're going to have biased opinions. And then you getting caught up into the biased opinions because they don't understand boxing or UFC or anything like that. So it's our fault that why we think like that.
I agree with you to an extent. I do. It is our fault. But I think at the same time, when we realize it and we start saying something differently and people aren't willing to actually perceive that, or excuse me, I should say at least like digest that, I think that's where the problem lies. Because I think there's one of the most obvious things, and I keep saying it, is it's very interesting to me that now that the fight has been made, all I see is people picking sides, which how it should be. But I don't. Right. What happened to all the ducks? Like, what happened to Terence Crawford being scared to fight Errol? No one is saying that now. Everyone's just now being like, no. I even see people watching. Like, I watched some interviews Terence Crawford did. Like, I'm so happy he's showing his personality now. Like, I'm like, oh, this nigga been the same nigga. Like, nothing's changed. You're just paying attention and you happy now.
Yeah, have y'all seen it with him and Shakur? When Shakur's about to box and they trained that came up, they always used to laugh, joke, fall on the ground and all that type of stuff. Like, what are you talking about? And that's why you can't take them so serious. You're like, man, these just, you know.
But that's what drives these narratives, though. That's why I'm saying, like, if this Saturday, if Terence Crawford knocks Errol Spence out, it's going to shake up boxing. And that's the only reason why this actually goes into the title I put. Is this overhyped? I have a lot of reasons to say why this fight is overhyped. But the one reason why it won't be is because if Terence Crawford wins, boxing's going to be fucked up.
I don't think so.
You think there's that many people who believe that Terence Crawford is going to win and stand behind him? You really think that's in the boxing world today?
Well,
You really don't think boxing going to be fucked up if Terence Crawford win by decision is different, but if Terence Crawford does a Sean Porter number on him,
even
you don't think it's going to be fucked up?
If Crawford wins, right? I think that's be good for boxing because he doesn't have a promotional team. I mean, he has his own promotional team, so he'll take any fight that's coming his way, and he's a champion.
Yeah.
So they gotta fight him now. So he'll fight the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? So now we're gonna get the fights that, not that the fights that we may once see him fight. He's not gonna duck no smoke. He's not gonna duck that. You know what I'm saying? So boxing still will be pretty good. I think it'll be actually might be better because now we don't have to worry about the top ranks in the PBC. They gotta come see him like everybody had to come see Mayweather when he left everybody. That's why his promotion company was so big and become great because he was the champion. He was the A side. He betted on himself. And anybody that want to fight me, they got to come see my promotional team, PBC, top rank, or whatever.
But don't you think you agreeing with me, but disagreeing with me?
Yeah, that's
I'm saying, like, everything you saying, the last person who did that was Floyd, and that fucked up the whole boxing.
Because
I'm not saying in the bad way. I'm just saying that made everyone be like, "Wait, hold up!" Like,
you're right, but only fucked up boxing because Floyd was acting like how you say it, like all the rest of them, PBC, Golden Boy, and all them. He wasn't fighting the best of the best. If that was the case, he would have fought De La Hoya's early. You see what I'm saying? As soon as he got his contract, he fought De La Hoya. That's how Crawford is. Crawford ain't ducking nobody. He's a different type of animal, a different type of mentality.
You want me to be real? I'm like, there's a rematch clause in place. So I obviously, if Crawford does beat Errol, it's going to be a rematch. I think if Errol beats Crawford, even if there is a rematch clause in place, I don't see the fight happening again. That's my personal opinion. Even though there's a lot of people on the YouTube comments and stuff, they're going to say, "Oh, Crawford wanted the rematch," and be like, "You dumb as fuck. Crawford is the B side. If he wanted the rematch, that shit's not going to be put in the paperwork if the A side doesn't want it as well." But I'm not even going to.
If it's in a contract and it's a rematch, it doesn't matter who wins. It's going to be a rematch if both sides want it.
Exactly, so, but you gotta understand, a B side doesn't have any saying that. If Crawford's like, "I want the rematch," and the A side doesn't want it, there's not going to be a rematch clause. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's weird to me when boxing fans are very adamant on who's the A side and the B side, but then when it comes in negotiations or things put into contract, they were like, "Well, the B side demanded it." You understand? You can't demand anything as a B side. You can suggest it. You can negotiate.
Let me ask you, why do you think it's overhyped?
So my reasons it being overhyped, I kind of spoke on it a little bit earlier in the stream, but I didn't really go, really into it. But my reasons for it to be overhyped is because I think it's, and I'm gonna use the same exact scenario, right? I won't say love, but I'm like, we're so used to eating, right? Because we have access to food, restaurants everywhere. So even when we have good food or even when we taste something good, we don't necessarily cherish it the way that maybe someone in a third world country would. But if all of a sudden someone said, "Hey, you can't eat for 3 days. I'm going to put you in a desert. You can only drink water." All of a sudden, after that 3 days is over, and all of a sudden you can eat, it don't matter what you have. You can have the shit you said you always disliked. It can be in front of you. You can be like, "Man, it's the best thing in the world." And so I put Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. I put it in the same category in the sense of this fight should have happened when they both were in their prime. And I'm not saying they're not in their prime now because, people's primes, even when it comes to boxing, is actually a lot longer than what it used to be because of medical advances and things like that. Right? But this fight should have happened 2 to 3 years ago. And because this fight didn't happen 2 to 3 years ago, I think it's beautiful marketing, it's beautiful promoting. I don't think it really had to do anything if someone had it planned. But I think everyone's in the aspect or in the sense of, which is great marketing, when I was playing the All Access video, they're like, we're in the year of the super fights. We had David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, we had Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Davis. When I was like, those aren't really super fights, right? We kind of knew who's going to win, right? There's just fights that are competitive, and we haven't had competitive fights in so long at boxing. We were just craving for something that seemed like it was going to be close. So that's where I see the overhyped aspect. I'm not saying it's not worth the money. I'm just more so saying it's being oversold to us, where this fight should have happened 2 to 3 years ago, and it did not happen because of promotional differences, contract differences, and then also one of the main points that no one wants to talk about, Errol Spence just couldn't fight. In the last 2 to 3 years, Errol Spence has dealt with a whole lot of shit.
Right.
And that's what kind of bugs me, because I'm like, if Errol Spence was Adrian Broner, think about what people would be saying.
So what you're saying is this. So if I hear you, you saying it's overhyped because it should have took place a while ago. Last time they had the promotion, they should have took place in their prime.
Terence Crawford, like you said, is turning 35, or he's 35 now. Errol Spence is 32, 33 years old.
Right.
So enjoy the fight, but both y'all niggas, y'all know y'all have about 3 to 4. Well, this is the crazy part is Terence Crawford in the sport of boxing, like you said, he's probably younger than Errol Spence. So both of y'all probably got about 2 to 3 years left in boxing.
I think they might go about that, but I don't think it's overhyped. I think it's like right on, pretty much right on key of the promotion. I think that the only reason I say that is because we're dealing with two champions. We're dealing with two undefeated boxers. We're dealing with two dogs. You know what I'm saying? They both, you know what I'm saying? I would say they both dogs. You know what I'm saying? And
I agree with that.
And anytime you get two people who going not run from each other, it's going to be a clash of the titans. Now, the reason they say it might be like Hearns and Hagler, because that didn't last too long. That fight ain't last too long.
It's not gonna be Hearns and Hagler.
Yeah, so it may be Hearns and Sugar Ray. What that last?
It's not gonna be no old school shit. That's one thing I be, and this is probably just me. I don't like when we compare the old.
No, when I'm saying
Warriors,
old school, as far as the quick knockouts.
I know, I agree with you. I hate comparing the old school Warriors who were getting paid 25% of what they're getting paid now. Like them, they was getting in the ring because they wanted to fucking fight. They wasn't getting in the ring because we was gonna take care of our kids. Like, nah, nigga, let's see who's better. So I think it's actually a disrespect to the older generation when we do that. Not really, because the older generation had more promotional. They was on more TV commercials. They was on more and guess who was getting that money? More TV shows. And guess who was getting that money? Let's talk about it. Who's getting that money off of that? Sugar Ray. Not the fighters, nigga. Not the fighters. It was the white men. The white men was getting them checks. Saying is they have popularity grew. You don't see no boxing in no movies. You don't see no boxers in no TV commercials. You just don't. Yeah, I know, because there was a reason why. Because the white men was like, I can pimp you out and I can put you in any situation, and we can put you out there, but we're gonna collect a check for you because it was on that time back then. Let's be real. Look, Sugar Ray Leonard never was hurting for money. Hearns was never hurting for money. And I'm not saying they was hurting. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it was beneficial for whoever they was working with, because they had a contract signed where they said, nigga, you get 15%, you gonna get that money that you ain't never seen before. Yeah, facts, but we gonna get majority, man. And white men, like, come on, man. Back then they were taking advantage of our brothers. I agree, but it was a residual though. It was residual. Nah, it was no residual contract. Hell no. TV commercials are residual. That's the baseline. That's why they was probably giving niggas only 15%. No, I'm like, yeah, TV is residual, but I'm like, if you sign a contract and in that contract you look and you be like, oh, that residual money is going to my promotional company. I'm like, they not seeing that. Yeah, but I don't think Sugar Ray and I don't think they was that silly that I'm not gonna get no money
I'm gonna fight this fight and get a promotion. Nah, they was doing 7-Up commercials and shit. They ain't had nothing to do with the fight.
Come on, let's talk. It was a different time. Come on, bro.
Saying the money was different. The money was different.
It was a lot less. The money was a lot less. It's not even close to the amount now.
Not even close. But for that time frame and for the living conditions that they was living in, when I mean living conditions, the price of bread ain't the same either. The price of milk ain't like different too. The economic structure was different. It was cheaper. You know what I'm saying?
Look, for me, I'm like, we got to keep that same energy. And we gonna say Bob Arum on some shit. We can't say no niggas back in the 70s and 80s. Them niggas wasn't on no shit. Like, come on, bro.
I'm saying, what I'm saying is, I don't think they were smart enough. All right, let's put it this way. Sugar Ray Leonard ain't older than my dad, and my dad, it was an executive, so I know he is smart enough to say, okay, if I'm doing this 7-Up commercial, I'm getting a contract from 7-Up. This is my contract for me, not for my promotional team. My manager, yeah, he gets a percentage, but not my promotional team. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm doing something to promote the fight, yes, I agree with you. My promotion team gonna get that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying that wasn't happening. I'm just trying to make it known that was rare. That's all I'm saying.
But it really was.
There's a reason why when, like, come on, like, just let's talk about. Listen, there's a reason why Terence Crawford is doing what he's doing, and we have so many people saying like, "You ducking the fight," rather than being like, "Nah, you being a smart businessman." If that was just common knowledge, because what you're saying is not common knowledge. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm like, what you're saying is not common knowledge. If it was, niggas would be big up at Terence like we is. But no, instead they like,
you're right.
Terence, you this, you that, you this, you that.
Remember, we had a discussion with Dub on here. Remember?
Exactly. Okay. Thank you. Talk about it. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Talk about it.
And I was like, no, Terence Crawford, because I was like, I like Errol Spencer. I think at the time I said I think Earl's going to win the fight, but they trying to play Crawford, and that's what I'm saying. I can look at things down the middle, no matter who I think is going to win or lose. Now as the fights go on, I don't know who's going to win or lose. I wouldn't put no money on it, but yeah, I remember that.
Me personally, I would have to look at what the odds were. If they had Terence Crawford, if I were to put money on anything, I would put money on Terence Crawford TKO within 10 rounds.
I put money on Terence Crawford with that bet, and guess what else I would do? The reverse bet too.
Errol Spence I don't think you would get as much money as Errol Spence because I think Errol Spence is going to be the favorite.
You know what it's called? It's like hedging your bet. You're not losing.
You got both. If you lose some money here, you're gonna make some money here, and most likely it's gonna end up canceling each other out. You might end up coming away with some.
Right. I might win 500 here, or might win 200 if what's the name win. Either way,
you'll make more. But for me, if I were just to make one bet, my bet would be on Terence Crawford TKO or KO within 10 rounds. That's where I put my money.
I'll put my money on Earl if I had to put my money on him. And the only reason I just see a lot of flaws, not a lot, but enough flaws in Crawford game where I feel like that what's they can capitalize on. You know what I'm saying?
I think Errol Smith is gonna look really, really good for 6 rounds.
Right. This is what I need to see from Crawford that I haven't seen. Him take a punch from a big time fighter. You see what I'm saying? I seen him take one against Cambo. You know, Cambo. I seen him take one against him. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't really. Porter hit him a couple of times, but Porter, you know, he remind me of somebody who drinks, smoke on the block, and just happy to fight and was in the ring.
Sean Porter, apparently, he don't drink or smoke. Let me say this: I'm like, because a lot of people, I've been hearing that a lot. Where it's like, well, I only really seen you get hurt against Gamboa, and to me, that kind of hurts my soul. It hits the bottom of my stomach because I remember Gamboa. I remember when he was on. Gamboa was supposed to be the next Floyd. Gamboa was supposed to be the next big thing.
Gamboa was that work. What
people don't realize is when that nigga got knocked out by Terence Crawford, no one really talked about it because niggas was like, "Who are we talking about? Like this shit wasn't supposed to happen."
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So
He shook up the world.
Like I said, that nigga's one endorsement, the one nigga who advertised for him was Timothy Brett. Who could be the word of all the niggas who said you finna be the next big thing? You don't want it to be. And respect Timothy Bradley. You had a great career. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just saying that's not the nigga you want in boxing. You don't want Timothy Bradley going around saying he finna be the next big thing because niggas do not like Timothy Bradley when it comes to boxing, bro. Niggas don't like him. Niggas is like Timothy Bradley. Nah, I ain't finna hear none of that shit.
Man, I just think that I think Crawford dropped his left hand a lot. You know what I'm saying? But also I think Spence gets hit a lot too with his head out a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be who's gonna be able to take that punch. I don't think Crawford took a punch. I mean, not Crawford. Spence took a punch from a person like Crawford either, from different angles with power.
I'm gonna tell you how I think this shit gonna go. Spence is gonna look absolutely immaculate for 6 rounds. He's gonna outwork Crawford. I think Crawford is actually, because I've been seeing it as he gets older. Like before, his whole shit would be he would be an orthodox for about 8 rounds. Then he would switch, you know what I'm saying, to southpaw, and then he would kind of work for the last 4 rounds. You've seen him been switching a little bit earlier now, but I think it's gonna be the same way. I think 6 rounds he's gonna look like he's getting outworked. He's gonna take a lot of big shots from Errol Spence. Errol Spence is gonna have a lot of success with the body work. It's gonna be a beautiful body work from Errol Spence in the first 6 rounds. But I think we're gonna get to the 7th to 8th round. Terence is gonna switch to south, and then once he switches to south, I think by the 11th round, we're gonna have a knockout. First time we ever seen Errol Spence on his knee. As I said. I don't think Errol Spence is going to get knocked out. We're going to see Errol Spence dropped on his knee. I think it's going to go all 12 rounds, and I think it should go to Terence Crawford. And he should win, but we're going to have a split decision. It's going to all come down to what boxing feels like. They're going to make the most money from.
A draw.
I don't think it's going to be a draw. I just think the first 6 rounds is going to be. I just think Errol Spence is going to be so dominant in the first 6 rounds. When we see Terence Crawford excel in the last 4 rounds, the last 6 rounds, I think that's going to be, they're going to try and make it up for debate. So I do think Terence Crawford is going to end up winning a split decision, and I think he's going to be able to drop Errol Spence. But I do believe like the first 6 rounds, a lot of people are going to be like, well, I told you Errol Spence is that dude. And I think the way Errol Spence's style is, he's going to have a lot of success. But
so would a draw make money? Because that definitely be a rematch.
Especially if they both, amount of money.
Say they both get dropped, they drop each other, and it goes to the 12 rounds.
I don't think Terence Crawford gets dropped though. I don't think Errol Spence has that type of
power.
I'm not saying he has that type of power. I just don't think he has that type of boxing ability to be able to hit Terence Crawford in a situation where he does get dropped. And I could be completely wrong.
It could be a flash knockdown. It could be a flash knockdown.
He wasn't able to drop Mikey. He wasn't able to drop Danny. It's hard for me to believe that he's going to drop Terence.
Not too many people drop Danny though. Who that dropped Danny?
So I give you the same argument. Who dropped Terence?
No, that's what I said. Terence. That's what I'm saying. No, Terence ain't been on cameras either. But you saying that he ain't dropped him and he ain't dropped him and stuff like that. He sent Ugas to the hospital though with an eye socket.
I also know Ugas went on 12 rounds with him.
Yes, he did. Ugas is a dog though. He a dog. Cause I would have threw the red. I would have threw my flag in after my eye socket would have been.
He also didn't drop Kell Brook.
Okay.
I think if Ugas and Terence Crawford fight, I think Terence Crawford stops Ugas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So at the end, I mean, he dropped bums. When I say he dropped bums, I mean Errol Spencer dropped bums as well as Crawford dropped bums. Other than
Errol Spence's work rate. Errol Spence's, I'm going to put these motherfucking hands on you till you don't want to feel it no more.
Right. I'm just gonna beat you up. I might not drop. I'm just gonna beat you up, swell you up. How you look like Martin against Hearns. That's
Crawford. And this is like people love Gervonta Davis so much. I'm like, do you understand? Terence Crawford is very similar to Gervonta. I'm like, in the fight with Sean Porter, before he went out and dropped Sean Porter, his corner said, "Hey, they got you losing the fight, bro." Terence
Yeah,
Crawford said, "What? I'm losing?"
yeah,
He said, "Ain't no way I'm losing. I've been winning." It's like, "No, they got you losing." Came out, dropped him. I'm like, Terence Crawford is the smaller nigga who got the heavy hands.
yes. Yo, that Rolly, yo, I think Gervonta's toughest fight for me that I saw him fight was Rolly and Pitbull Cruz. Even though he hurt his hand against Pitbull Cruz.
Rolly was not, as much as I love Rolly was not a tough fight for Gervonta. I got to be honest. Rolly was not a tough fight. Our West did not go 12 rounds. I think he did get stopped. I don't know. Our West, the link in there, come up in this bitch if you got something to say, man. Because you know we always appreciate your opinion, Our West. You be having that educated knowledge. Go ahead,
come up, bro. No, only way I say he gave him problems. Rolly just didn't have the skill set. If Rolly had the skill, he had enough power to keep Gervonta Davis off of him. He didn't have the skill set to move his head and know how to read. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't smart enough. He's not smart. He's not a smart boxer. But
Rolly dumb as fuck.
Yeah, but he had a good game plan. And when he hit Gervonta felt his power, like, oh, this motherfucking hit. But he said, but I know I'm gonna catch him. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. I don't want to deviate too much from the topic, but they're saying supposedly there's a possibility of Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it did, who you got? Rolly has a good chance in that fight, man.
Yeah, he does.
Even though his fundamentals aren't there, Ryan Garcia's fundamentals aren't there. Right. So he can take advantage of some chances. But if he comes in with that leaping hook, Rolly, he'll get caught with that little check hook from Ryan.
I'm gonna go with Ryan. The only way I'm gonna go with Ryan because he took some good shots from Gervonta Davis, and he gave him some decent shots too. I think he's more.
That's the crazy part. It's like people don't want to give Ryan Garcia that. I'm like, his chin was there. I'm like, for him to be depleted at weight,
yeah,
he took big hits up here. But he got stopped in the body, which makes you, if you really are a boxing fanatico, it makes you question. And I might be giving him excuses, but there was a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying? Yo, you can't hydrate to this point. You can't be above this weight. So I'm like, look, he was weight drained to a point.
Took the fight. But I agree with you. That weight drain does mean something. It does mean something. And then when you take a shot in the body like that from a hard hitter.
Yeah. But Gervonta still wins though. I'm like, even if Ryan Garcia was able to have the, you know what I'm saying, be able to hydrate and have the weight, I still think Gervonta outboxes him. It just doesn't, I just don't think he stops him. I think it goes 12 rounds and Gervonta wins the majority of the rounds. So I don't think that makes much of a difference. But
he wouldn't have took too many shots on his chin like that. But the difference, nah. But the difference would have been this though, when he hit Gervonta Davis, how that had affected him. You know what I'm saying? How do you beat Gervonta Davis? You get a heavy hitter that's a smart fighter and that has a good jab.
This is my thing. Ryan Garcia is a smart fighter, but he's not a fundamental fighter.
Right. He has to get a good trainer. He needs to start.
He's with Errol Spence trained. He's with Derrick James. You feel me? So he's working on it.
Give me Garcia.
You think Garcia could beat Garcia Davis if I don't believe that, to be honest with you. I think Garcia, everything, I'm like, I don't think you can change anything from him. I think it's the same thing as a basketball player. Like I see it the same way. Like when you at a certain age, what you are is who you are. You can't change that. You just have to figure out a way to fine tune it and be able to make sure that you can do the best you can so it can actually be successful in whatever you're trying to do. But if you come against somebody who is really focused on their fundamentals, focused on what they want to do from a young age, and that's been their focus, you're always going to lose to them. It doesn't matter what the situation is. You just may not lose to them as bad.
Well, I want to say that. I think you got a good trainer and you and he'll cater your style. He'll find a style for you to fight that you're comfortable at. That's what good trainers do, and then perfect your weaknesses. You know what I'm
But
saying?
it doesn't make it. You want to know the perfect example?
Mm-hmm.
Currently, Anthony Joshua.
He's a bum. He's been a bum to me. I always said that.
But technically, he's not, because the way people look at him is like, well, this is one thing you can't take away from AJ, regardless how you feel about him. He
Go
probably
ahead.
has the best resume when it comes to all the heavyweights currently fighting. Who has a better resume than AJ? I'm not saying he's won all the fights, but
Right.
he has fought the toughest fought the toughest opponents when it comes to his resume.
But my thing is this: if you ain't winning, then you just a tune-up.
But that's the thing. The people that he's lost to has some type of recognition, because we can't use the same argument when it comes to Deontay Wilder. Well, oh, you only lost to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the best ever. But then when it comes to AJ, it's like, well, nigga, you lost, so I don't want nothing to say. Well, I'm like, well, Usyk ain't lost to nobody. Okay, yeah, you lost to Andy Ruiz, but Andy Ruiz, that nigga ain't lost to nobody other than you, AJ.
Yeah.
He beat Klitschko. So I'm like, he has one of the best resumes. He's beat Dillian White twice.
I think
He's beat Chisora.
all these niggas you think, I think they bums too. I think all the niggas he beat are bums.
So you saying that heavyweight division is a bum division? Because I'm like, who else are we talking about in the heavyweight division that means something?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Heavyweight division is a bum division.
That's cap. You can't say that. The heavyweight division is not a bum division. Stop that. Dillian White is a great fighter. Derek Chisora is a legend. Even though he's not a U.S. made person, he's a legend. Andy Ruiz is a very good fighter. A lot of people want to see Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder. And if we were to see that fight, people will be paying big money for it.
I got Wilder.
Usyk is probably the top #1 heavyweight right now, and we want to see him against Tyson Fury. Like, come on, bro.
I got Wilder knocking him out. Listen, this is what I'm saying.
We gotta stop capping for Wilder, man.
No, when you have Wilder and Fury, right? You be like, all right, the first fight, I don't know who's going to win that fight. It's 50-50 fight, right? When you have
Wilder versus Fury is not a 50-50 fight. Not now.
I'm talking about when you first announced it.
Okay.
In the beginning. I'm talking about in the beginning. 50-50 fight. But if you would have put any one of those other people that we're talking about against Wilder or Tyson Fury, they were like, oh no, Wilder or Fury. Easy, without even thinking about it, without even blinking. That's what I'm saying.
That's how you feel about Usyk? You feel Usyk is like that?
Yeah, what's the name? Beat the shit out of Usyk. That was what's the name? Wilder. They stopped that fight. You don't remember?
Usyk ain't lost no fights.
Didn't he used to train with Wilder?
No, you thinking about somebody. I don't know. You thinking about Malik Scott? I don't know who the fuck you thinking about. Usyk has no losses on his resume. Usyk is the one who came up from cruiserweight.
Okay, maybe he a white boy. He a bald head.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilder beat him the fuck up. Look it up.
No, Wilder never fought Usyk.
All right, man. All right.
I know you ain't talking about no Olympics, because Usyk never fought Wilder in the Olympics.
I'm talking about. He beat Usyk.
Wilder has never beat Alexander Usyk. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you. I'm like, you look that shit up. You got another device. He ain't never fought Usyk. I know that for a fact. Usyk is undefeated. Nigga never took no L.
My son tablet. I can't find my son's tablet on my other phone.
I'm telling you, I don't know where you getting this from. I'm like, you thinking about somebody else with a bald head, but Usyk has not taken no L, especially to know motherfucking Wilder.
Okay.
And I'm a Wilder fan. This is me being an Usyk fan.
Listen, all right. Okay, I might be wrong.
You wrong on that one, because I'm like, for you to call the whole heavyweight division just bum, like, that's disrespectful.
Just saying. All right. Put Usyk up there. All right, Usyk. That's only 3 people we named right there. It's only 3 people. I'm saying when you start saying I'm gonna put these fighters against these championship fighters.
Wilder, Fury, Usyk. I'm like, okay, they're top tier. I'm not gonna take AJ comes right below him. AJ is right there. I still think as much as that loss to Zhang Wei Li was, I still have Joe Joyce there. I know it sounds crazy. I still have Luis Ortiz old ass there. We have Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is about to Daniel Dubois is about to fight Usyk. I think he's gonna get worked, but I think Daniel Dubois is the top. Like I think heavyweight division is still a very good division. I think there's a lot of good fights happening. I think we should not underestimate that heavyweight division just because I'm like, if the heavyweight division was that, well, this might be a point that you made. I'm like, why is Tyson Fury fighting Francis Ngannou? But I think that's just because Tyson Fury's chasing the bag.
Because you know why? Because there is no other bag fighting him. He already fought the bag, which was Wilder. There is no other bag in there because nobody want to see him fight none of them bums. That's what I'm calling a bum division.
I agree with that. There's not a bigger bag than fighting Ngannou, but when it comes to competition, he should be fighting Usyk. But I can put it just as much blame on Usyk too, because I'm like, Usyk, even though it's his mandatory, I'm like, Usyk, you could have been like, I don't want to fight Daniel Dubois. Him fighting Daniel Dubois is probably the stupidest shit in the world. I'm like, that shit, no one's going to watch that.
That's all I'm saying. And that's why it's a bum division. That's why I call it a bum division. It's fights that they fight, but nobody want to see those fights. Let's be honest.
I'm not mad at it.
And that's the only way I call it a bum division. If the fight come on, am I going to watch it? Yes. Of course I'm going to watch it.
I'll catch the highlights. I'm not even going to lie. Daniel Dubois versus Usyk. All right, that is the most, that fight, and Tyson Fury versus Ngannou, that is the most, like, I'll pay attention, but I'm definitely not going to pay attention. That's crazy. We had someone come in just to hate Devin the Duck Haney. No one was even talking about Devin Haney, nigga. That's all I be talking about when it comes to boxing fans. Like, y'all niggas just talk, like, y'all niggas would talk shit about random fires. Like, nigga, this nigga wasn't even in the topic.
Listen, bro. We know if Haney don't fight Davis, I don't really want to see him fight nobody else if it's not Shakur Davis.
Fuck out of here with this cap shit. All y'all niggas talking about Shakur Stevenson is the truth.
I'm not saying he's the truth.
Devin Haney, if Devin Haney don't fight him, all this shit.
No,
y'all niggas is so cap. No, let me finish. Y'all niggas is so cap. When Terence Crawford was with Bob Arum, Terence Crawford was the problem. Terence Crawford was a nigga who was signed to a racist. Now we have Shakur Stevenson in the same situation, and now Devin's ducking niggas. Like, do you understand? Devin is the young nigga right now who's taking a page out of Terence Crawford, Canelo. Like, he has control of his entire fate. He can make whatever fight happen that he wants.
Facts.
Shakur has to listen to Bob and be like, can I fight Devin? How do you feel? Well, I'll let you know. Like, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, that's why boxing fans be making me feel away, because it's like, damn, y'all really be invested in your fighters and not knowing the business.
This is what I would say about that. I would like to see him and Tank fight first. Okay? That's the fight that I want to see.
Devin versus Tank?
Huh?
Devin versus Tank?
Yes. Devin versus Tank.
But why would Devin fight? Why would Devin fight Tank, and why would Tank fight Devin? Like, how would that make sense, like, money-wise?
Money-wise? Why wouldn't it make sense money-wise? Tell me why Devin Haney and Tank and Tank Davis wouldn't make money. It would make more money than I would say Garcia fight, or just about as much.
You think you would make more money than a Garcia fight?
No, I'm lying. Because Garcia got the mess.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, don't cap. I'm like, people.
But other than Garcia, that'd be his next biggest payday.
I'm like, niggas ain't fuck with Shakur like that. It's so funny because I'm like, come on, man, we've been doing this for too long. I remember 2 years ago I was talking about Shakur Stevenson. Ain't nobody had shit to say about this nigga.
I think
crazy how all of a sudden this nigga the best nigga in the division.
Hold on. No,
ain't nobody gonna beat him.
I think
Shakur boxing fans is cap.
In my opinion, Shakur don't have enough fights for me in that division.
Nigga just moved up. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why the fuck would Tank fight someone in Shakur and you ain't even prove yourself up? This is when the business side comes into a factor.
No, I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Even though I used to live in Newark and everything and things like that. So I'm from Philly to Jersey. So you know what I mean? So I'm a little biased when it comes to
Yeah, I
that.
know. I feel,
But
look, but I'm being
but
real. I told you, I'm like, me and Ryan Garcia from the same place. We both from the high desert. And I'm being real when it comes to Garcia.
no, I'm being
I
real.
could
I'm
be
being real.
capping for him forever. Like Ryan Garcia, nigga, the high desert all day. That's
Right.
like, nigga, I'm always gonna ride for that. But I'm being real.
I feel 100% that Devin Haney doesn't need to fight Shakur because he hasn't fought nobody and he had one fight in that division. Just one.
He
And
just
then
moved up, bro.
you want to fight for the champion? No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not
Do you
doing
know
that.
who Devin Haney's trying to fight right now?
Who that?
Regis Prograis.
He's moving up or he gonna fight him in that division?
He gonna fight him in that division. And a
How
lot
you
of
like
people
that?
are trying to say, "Oh, you running from Shakir," and I'm like, "Do
And
y'all
that's what
understand? Prograis, he got more accolades in what he like. Yeah, it's like, are y'all really boxing fans or are y'all fans of the boxers?" But I realize it's like y'all fans of the boxers because I'm like, y'all on the Shakir side. I'm like, do you understand what Prograis has done in his division? Nigga got a belt. I'm like, that
yeah,
is going to be a monumental fight.
yeah, I would have to fight him before I fight Shakur all day.
Of course.
If I don't fight him, I gotta fight Tank. I mean, that's that. I mean, that's the money fight. That's some. Everybody wants to see that fight. Everybody and his mothers wants to see that fight.
So you 100%. I'm like, it's either it's like, okay, if you don't fight Prograis, who else you gonna fight, Devin? It's like, well, it's Tank. So it's like those are the only two options. You know, you can't get Tank right now because Tank, that he's basically number one. Like, oh, when it comes to the smaller weight classes, Tank is Floyd right now. Tank can choose whatever the fuck he wants to choose. And if Tank don't choose you, Devin, and he don't got you on your radar, then you got to try to make your own lane. And it's like, you're not making your own lane, making a Shakur fight.
Now this is what I would say. If it's in Tank corner to make that fight happen, and he don't make the fight happen, I feel a certain way. Then now, I would say he's ducking, and I'm a Tank fan.
But you know,
Because
it wouldn't be presented that way, though.
I don't care how it's presented. If it's in his corner and it is in his ballpark, like we're fighting, it's something on the dotted line or whatever, and he don't do it, it's a problem.
But you know, it's going to be presented like it's just like, all right, we can't come to negotiations type. And then if you're a fan of somebody, he say it would be a bigger fight versus Teofimo or Prograis. I'm so happy you just said that because I forgot about Teofimo. You telling me if Devin Haney can fight Teofimo Lopez, that's not a bigger fight than Shakur Stevenson? You crazy. Teofimo Lopez is on the up right now.
That's a bigger fight. He just upset and got the belt.
Teofimo versus Devin Haney is probably the biggest fight right now when it comes to him fighting Prograis or Shakur Stevenson. Him versus Teofimo, that's the biggest fight, bro.
Yeah, I'll fight Teofimo before I fight Shakur.
But I'm like, you gotta think about it. If he fights Regis, if he beats Regis, think about the type of clout he'll get for that. And then you have him versus Teofimo next, bruh.
That'd be a nice fight.
And then you gotta look at Shakur. It's like, okay, well, Shakur, what you got lined up? So you know for sure you are A side. So it's like, if I'm Devin Haney, I'm like, okay, let me fight Regis first. Let me beat Regis. Let me try and get the Teofimo fight, beat Teofimo. Then I'm like, okay, Shakur, I really don't have to fight you now, nigga. Like, what you been doing? Because you in that weight class now where you can get those fights.
Keyshawn Davis, right? He's what, 130?
Yeah, but even then, I'm like, I still want to say right now for Keyshawn Davis, I don't think that's the.
No. I was asking. Not saying.
I'm like, that's something I would. This is the key thing when it comes to Shakur, and a lot of people don't want to talk about. But it's something that a lot of people wanted to talk about when Terence Crawford was there. And we're gonna keep this going. I'm gonna let everybody enjoy the night. We're not gonna keep this live going too much longer. But I do want to say this. The bias. This is the reason why I say what I say when it comes to like Terence Crawford and stuff like that, is because it's very interesting that, you know, Terence Crawford had to deal with what he had to deal with, being with Top Rank, But then you see someone like Shakir Stevenson, where it's like, well, they're ducking Shakir. It's like it's crazy. You never heard anyone saying they're ducking Terence Crawford, but you hear
Right.
so many people saying, "Oh, you're ducking Shakir," and it's like, do you know how long it took for Shakir to actually move up in weight? And now that he's finally moved up in weight, do you understand how hard it would be for him to negotiate a deal that Top Rank and Bob Arum would actually fuck with? Every person in the weight class he's with is with a different promotional company. So he's in the same position as Terence Crawford.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think Jay Prince is hurting him as being his manager?
Jay Prince, respectfully, I don't want no beef.
I don't know.
If you manage me and you got me money, I had nothing but love. But Jay Prince is hurting every boxer he got under him. Like, nigga, tell me one boxer this nigga ever signed who was up under him, and this nigga was able to capitalize off of his prime while he was with him.
Mayweather.
Shit, Mayweather wasn't with Jay Prince right there. They had a co-promotional deal, nigga. That was a whole. You told me one nigga.
No, he was his manager. That was his first boxing manage. He went to manage Tyson, and then he ended up managing Mayweather. He was up and coming at that time.
All right, how Tyson do?
Tyson, I don't know that nigga. Who the hell is he?
So Mayweather was the only nigga out of everyone that actually worked out. Everyone other than Mayweather, and Mayweather took a very unorthodox route, where to this day he still has hate for taking that route. I'm just being real. I'm like, Jay Prince, I'm like, look, I'm not saying Jay Prince isn't great at what he does, because he is, because I'm like, Terence Crawford, nigga got mad money with Bob Arum.
I'm agreeing with you. I think Jay Prince is hurting Shakur from getting these fights and the things that he wants.
Jay Prince is about getting the bag. It's not about whatever the fuck his reputation is. And I'm not mad at that. But a lot of boxing fans or a lot of boxing followers, they don't know the difference. They think getting the bag is the same as fighting the best fighter, when that's completely different.
But as a manager, if I'm negotiating and I gotta talk to your manager, I might not want to talk. He might be trying to talk slick. You know how he. No, listen, Jay Prince, I don't want no problem, bro.
None.
Don't shut me down. I'm just saying.
Shit, come get us connected. Get us a deal, nigga.
Yeah, you know, tell them that slick. You know what I mean?
Oh.
But these old white men ain't trying to hear that.
Nah.
He might get one with Bernard and them at Golden Boy or something.
Oh man, they making money over there though. I'm like, Ryan Garcia was talking that shit, nigga. Like I said, from where I'm from, high desert all day. Ryan Garcia said, "Man, I'm done with you, Oscar De La Hoya, but you still with them niggas, so he must be getting you the bag."
It's Alex De La Hoya, but you know what I'm saying?
It's just
they was getting.
I'll say
when they,
go ahead.
No, I was say when when they said we was getting death threats and all that, they they was getting death threats from, right?
No,
the Mexican motherfuckers, the motherfucking cartels and shit that lost that money on that motherfucker.
I bet.
Yeah,
I bet. Look, okay, Manuel said, salute you. I think it's the first time I've seen you up in here, so appreciate you being here. But he said, honestly, I think there should be one title in every division so we know who's the best. All these belts ruin things. So
I agree.
As much as I want to agree with you,
I agree with you. Go ahead,
I agree with him as well. But this is where we got to talk to our boxing people and say, we can't be so into the sport, and we got to understand it's a business first. All the belts, do you know what that equals?
Money, revenue.
Bam. More belts equals more revenue equals more money. This is why I made this channel from the get-go, because I be trying to talk to people and trying to be like, enjoy your favorite fighter, love your favorite fighter, but understand when there's certain decisions being made, do not allow these bigger channels who are so captivated and trying to be in a narrative, which I don't want to be that nigga right now, but I'm lit right now. They call me Fluence for a reason. But I always got to go back to Terence Crawford, because I'm like, that nigga Terence Crawford, I'm like, y'all want to talk about Floyd? Terence Crawford is literally the Floyd of my generation, but he does not get that recognition. I'm like, a lot of y'all want to, he went with the colonizer, he went with the white man, all this type of shit. Do you know Floyd was do you know Terence Crawford was getting a meal every single fight? No pay-per-views? Off of TV.
Off of what?
Off of TV.
Off of what?
TV a mil plus.
Talk your
And y'all
shit.
niggas want to say Terence Crawford is a coon and all this other shit. And it's like, man, like, nigga, the purses are public information. He was getting more money than Errol Spence ever was. Like, Errol Spence just now started touching the type of bag Terence Crawford was 3 years ago. No cap.
Talk your shit.
And it's like nobody wants to pay attention to that. So it's like that's why I do what I do. And it's like to this day, it's like people still don't realize that. They think I'm hating. They think I'm a big Terence Crawford like rider, all this type of shit. I appreciate Terence Crawford because I'm like, that nigga did it his way. And he didn't give a fuck what anybody else had to say. And that shit really, it really paid off. I don't give a fuck if he gets knocked out in the first round by Errol Spence. Niggas had so much hate to say about him for that BLK Prime deal. And what did it end up transforming into?
This fight?
With the rematch clause.
8 to 10 million he got off that fight.
With the rematch clause, bro.
So
rematch clause.
I do think the belts help the boxers to make more money.
Absolutely.
But overall, I think it hurt the game of boxing, the sport of boxing, because now you don't get the fights of, I got the belts, I got this belt, nigga. If you want it, you gotta come see me. Ain't no ducking. I'm number one now. Okay, he's not number one now. He's number one now. It's always a different number one, and it's a mandatory fight, so you can't duck nobody. So I agree. That's why we got that haggling. See, everybody's like, why we get the haggling and her? Why can't we go back to that? Because we ain't had that many belts. They was getting paid peanuts, so they had to fight every other week. You know what I'm saying?
Even when they fought for that big belt, they still got paid peanuts when they won it compared to now.
And don't forget, they was getting robbed by the promoters. A lot of boxers.
Can I ask you this? Talk about it.
What'd you say?
Let me ask you this. So we got Ngannou versus Fury happening, right? Mad money. Fury's not putting really anything at risk, right?
Nothing at risk other than
Did you hear about? And this is a little change of pace. Did you hear about Jaylen Brown?
No.
He just signed the richest NBA contract in history.
No. You mean Jason Tatum, nigga?
No, Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown signed to $60 million a year?
No. It was $300 million plus over 5 years. He signed the richest contract in NBA history today. Jaylen Brown, bro.
I thought it was Jason Tatum.
No, Jaylen Brown, bro.
Yeah, that's $60 million a year. It was
305. Yeah, 304. It wasn't Jason. It was Jaylen Brown. So my point is, why are we so okay with these other sports doing crazy shit like this? But when it comes to niggas who's getting their head literally knocked off, could die in the ring, it's like, well, wait, you trying to get as much money as possible? Nah, nigga, just fight somebody because I want to see it. It's like, bro.
Exactly.
Look at my face.
I'm with you. I'm with you on it. That's why I said
out of my face.
That's why I said, and that's why half of them niggas back in the day with the WBOs when it was one belt, none of them can really talk other than Sugar Ray Leonard. Other than Sugar Ray Leonard and George Foreman.
Talk about it.
And George Foreman. All the rest of them punch drunk. For real.
Y'all love Mike Tyson to the sea. I know you do. He has his podcast and everything, and please don't flag me or nothing like that. But when I watch some podcasts, I'd be like, God damn, Mike Tyson don't know where the fuck he at the majority of the time.
Exactly. He just walking. He just living. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I love like Lennox Lewis. You can tell he's in his right mind. I'm like, the niggas was really, but I'm like, they did not get paid what they were. So I'm like, all I'm saying, even with NFL, I'm like, NFL, like quarterbacks are getting it, like the running back situation that they have going on. I think they just playing up. But I'm like, when I hear the richest contract in NBA history was given to not the best player on the team, Jaylen Brown is amazing. Amazing. Nigga not the best player on the team. He's the second best player. Niggas getting 305 over 10. And when I see that shit too, I'd be like, man, America is fucked up. Because I'm like, there no niggas should be broke in this motherfucking world. You just giving. But anyway, I'm not even gonna get into that. That's a different subject. But I'm just like, y'all okay with that? But y'all want to have some beef with a nigga like Terence Crawford because he's like, well, I just want to negotiate the best deal. You a duck. You scared to fight. Nigga, I got 38 fights. I got 37, 36 KOs. Who the fuck am I scared? Like,
Exactly. But I
oh,
can't
it's
go.
crazy, bro.
I can't be my own promoter. And so I supposed to go in here and say, yes, master, no, master. Okay, you can have all that. I just want to fight. I just want to fight. You can have all the back end, the front end. Just give me what you used to give me. Just give me $1 million. Y'all can make 25 million on this. Just give me $1 million. I'm happy. I just want
And
to
I'm
fight.
good. Shit, fuck the money, nigga. I just want to go in there and get my head beat in. Like,
Or knock him out. But at the end of the day, I know my worth. I mean, I'm not going to shortchange me of what I think I'm worth. And when you try to negotiate your own bag, people don't respect that. And black people are so brainwashed, they feel like we always need somebody to talk for us, or we need that white person there for us so we could be validated. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's why I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm like, this channel from day one, I've always been about, like, I wanted to say, oh, you biased or you always worried about this and stuff. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This channel from day one I'm always going to talk about the business aspect, because I'm like, y'all same niggas who is watching these boxing fights, you watching these NBA games, and you seeing what these contracts that these NBA players are getting, you're just like, man, damn, they're getting a whole lot of money. Like, y'all don't have nothing to say about it. But when it comes to a boxer who's trying to get more money, you're like, well, he's just scared to fight. And it's like, tell me where that lines up. Tell me where that makes sense.
I give you an example. It's like somebody holding out for their contract. No one ever say they scared to play football, basketball.
Talk about it.
It's trying to hold out for his money. Well, I'm not gonna box in until I get my money, but I'm a duck if I do that.
Thank you. Why is a duck only relevant in boxing? Why isn't that relevant in football? Why isn't that relevant in baseball or basketball? Oh, you not playing? Oh, you a duck. You're not willing to be in that competition.
Oh, you scared of competition? Oh, that's why you ain't playing. No, I'm not playing because I played already. You see that I can play, and y'all not trying to pay me for what my worth is. I already knocked niggas out. You saw me box. I need to get paid for my worth is. I don't have a machine behind me. You know why? Because I want all my money.
I want all of it.
What's wrong with my money? And me being my own boss and me paying people out my pocket, and then whatever's left, that's what I got. And pay my tax.
That's why I got so much love for Jamel, even though you are still somewhat behind the machine of PBC. I don't care what happens with Canelo. Jamel, you already know I was a big fan of you. I wasn't the biggest fan of you when you fought Tony Harrison, because Tony Harrison was my favorite fighter at the time. Y'all can still see that reaction. That's still on my YouTube channel. I went crazy. But Jamel, I have so much appreciation for you, because a lot of people were saying that you were trying to duck Tim Tszyu because of your injury and your hand injury. And I already know you would have fought Tim Tszyu. I know that was the case. But the fact that you got the Canelo fight, I don't care what happens, brother, I got nothing but respect for you, even with the machine. See, I can go both ways. Terence Crawford having his own promotional company, doing what he does, but I can also go with Jamel Charlo, where it's like, that fight happened with Canelo, obviously because PBC said, we're going to make a whole lot of money. But at the end of the day, Jamel had to sign off on it.
But you know
he had to sign off on that risk.
But you know why they did that? You know why they made that deal happen, right?
Talk to me. Let me know.
It's the following. He got one of the biggest fouls in boxing. You think they're not going to buy that pay-per-view? You think they're going to have the arena sold out? Jamel Carr ain't got to bring nobody. It's going to be sold out. Trust me. And that's where they're going to make the money. And that's what he's saying. We're going to make the money regardless. So why not make the fight? Now, this is the smaller brother, the one that's 154, right? That's went up.
It is, but I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you got to understand, even though they know the money's going to be there, the only way this fight happens is Jamel is going to have to be willing to take that risk, because he knows, like, the money's there, the revenue's there, the back end's there, but there's a big risk for me actually winning the fight. That has nothing to do with him doubting his skills, but he moved up to 154. He's never fought past 154. He's fighting a guy who's fought at 160, fought at 168. He's even fought at light heavyweight. So this is a very big risk for Jamel.
So what weight class? What they fight at? 160, 168?
160. Don't quote me on this, but 160 for all the belts because Jamel is undisputed, Canelo's
Right.
undisputed, so it's for all. It's for everything. So it might be for 154. I'm not 100%. So y'all don't quote me on it. It's either for 154 or 160.
I gotta see it. It gotta be a catchweight at 160. I can't see him just fighting at 180 then dropping all the way down to one.
That would be weird. It might be a catch weight, but I'm like
Yeah.
I think me personally, I think that's the fight of the year. I'm like, I don't think anything goes above that. I'm like, I know Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence is a hell of a fight, but Jamel Charlo versus Canelo, undisputed. I'm like, a lot of people, saying Canelo, he doesn't like fighting black fighters. He's wary of that. I think that's the fight of the year. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, Charlo got dropped by Harris, who don't hit nearly as hard as Canelo.
Hold up, correct that. He didn't get dropped by him. He got beat by him, but he didn't get dropped. Never got dropped.
Damn near got dropped. Let me say that.
He got damn near. I'll say that, but he never got dropped.
Right.
And this is me saying this is coming from a nigga who I was a Harrison fan. Y'all can pull it up. 3 years ago, I was very upset when that happened. The niggas who was in the room, they was telling me to calm down, like, nigga, you acting extra type shit. I was a Harrison fan. That's what made me be like, man, I really fuck with Jamel. And ever since then, I'm like, I've been a Jamel fan because I'm like, Jamel is really like I can tell he really loves the sport. He really is a nigga who he don't give a fuck. And he could have fought Tim Tszyu, which people were saying like, oh, that's a problem for him. He picked Canelo over Tim Tszyu. Like, why the fuck would he be scared of Tim Tszyu if he's gonna fight Canelo?
Well, I think at this point it's about the money. He a nigga too. They from niggas from the hood and shit. Like, what I'm saying? I fight Tim Tszyu. That's a good fight, but I fight Canelo. They're not expecting me to win this fight. A lot of people. Some people expecting me to win. It's like a 50-50. You know what I'm saying? So if I do lose,
Canelo fucked up though because he thought Dimitri Bivol would want that rematch, and he didn't.
Right.
Bivol was like, "Nah, I'm good, bro."
Yeah, go ahead. Do what you want to do. So that's Bivol, the only. I like him taking that fight, Charlo.
It was supposed to be Jamal though. It was supposed to be Jamal.
Right.
But Jamal going through all that shit respectfully, and I hope he gets through everything because what I'm saying, I ain't got nothing but love when it comes to that type of stuff. I know it's a lot. Life is crazy.
He going through with his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never good when you're going through with your wife. It's never good. Or your girlfriend or any female for that matter.
Yeah, but when it's elevated to your wife, it's a whole different level. Like when it's your girlfriend or your girl, it's like
you can leave.
Okay. When she call, I can ignore that shit. When it's your wife, it's like
unless you got 4 kids. And you've been with her for 15 years. And you just said married.
That was a high school sweetheart, bro. That's different.
Yeah, I take my hat off to him. Hope everything right. Pray on it. That's what I could tell him. He'll be good. That's an ugly situation. So I guess his little brother said, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it for you."
Well, I'm like, the thing about his little bro is like, he's always been like he always know what he wanted, and I'm like, even with the woman he dealt with, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not married or nothing like that, but it's like he knows the situation. It's like, and a lot of times, it's either at least what I see, it's either a curse or a gift being a little brother. Because it's a curse when it's like you don't got really the big brother to really learn from mistakes that you ain't never dealt with, and you end up being worse. Or it's a gift where it's like, all right, I don't want to end up dealing with the same situation that my big brother dealt with. And I think that's kind of how it is with Jamel, where it's like my big brother was with his high school sweetheart, he had kids, stuff like that. I think that shit dope. He got married, but it's like, yo, I love a woman, and this is all me speculation allegedly, but he's like, what I see from it is like, I love this woman, I appreciate her, but I'm not finna get married. Like, she's gonna have to understand, like, this is what my first love is boxing. And it's like, you kind of see that with Jamel, where it's like everything is revolved around boxing. With Jamal, everything was revolved around boxing, but you know what I'm saying, when you with a woman so long and stuff like that, if you don't really know, I don't want to go too much into it, but if you don't really know how that shit's gonna end up playing as far as the part with it, it's like she's gonna feel like she's bigger than boxing.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. But shit, they're the same age though. I think he looked at it like, nigga, like you said, I'm not making it. I'm not. This is my girl and everything, but I ain't getting married yet. Once I'm done with boxing, I'll get married because I'm able to do things with my son, my daughter, or whatever the case may be. I'm able to go on trips with her. I ain't got to worry about. I got to train for this next fight. I can't even have sex with. I ain't got to worry about none of that when she come my way, and I can
But
enjoy it.
that
So
shows how much Jamel looked up to Jamal, though. I'm like, with them being so close in age, I'm like, that shows how much Jamel looked up to Jamal.
yeah, he looked at it. Or he looked at it like, yo, you making a mistake, nigga. Like she could sue me because you growing up, you're like, this ain't the first argument that this happened. It don't escalate when you get married to this point. This been going on since he was in high school and they sweethearts and stuff like that. And his brother seeing that, like, yo, I don't even know why you still with her. You know how they had it on live, like they always used to go back and forth him and
I know.
and,
If you ain't watched it, watch the I Am Athlete with Brandon Marshall and Deshaun Jackson. They had the interview with the Charlo brothers. That's where Jamal, he kind of started crying and stuff. He was talking about a situation. That shit was crazy because when Jamal would talk about his significant other, Jamel, he would refer to her. He'd be like, man, that's the devil. She was sucking life out of you. Like, he would talk crazy about her. And Jamal was like, yo, chill, bro. Like, chill. Like, you don't got to be extra like that. But I'm like, because I got an older brother. So I'm like,
but
I know that type of energy.
Twins is different. That's how my nieces and them are. They twins.
Yeah.
They
And I'm like, my older brother, he's definitely not my twin, but we're close enough in age where it's like, because we definitely not as close as that, but I definitely understand the energy where it's like, you can be too close where that shit can hurt, but when you too far apart, that shit don't make sense type. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but he the only one that can say that to him. Anybody else, he going in their mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the same thing with my brother. Like, but that's the crazy part. Like, I'm not even that close. Like, I would never disrespect. I would never say anything disrespectful about his wife. I'd never say. I don't care how I feel. I would never say that shit.
Right.
I'm like, you gotta figure that stuff. So I'm like, for him to say that shit and them to be right next to each other on camera and thousands are gonna view it.
They all was in the same grade.
Yeah.
He might saw a cheat on him. He might have cheated. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you see him,
bro,
like, he saw everything. I've been telling him, yo, you need to leave it, dog. You need to leave it.
Nigga, in the interview, I'm like, this is no new information. I'm like, Jamal, in the interview, he was saying, he was like, when I was going through the shit, like I was sleeping at my bro's house. Like, he kept calling Jamel his little brother. And Jamel was like, stop calling me that, nigga. Like, I'm not your little brother. Like, nigga, we too close. But he was like, I was sleeping at this nigga's house when I was going through everything. So I'm like, I was like, I already know that shit different. Like, I couldn't even imagine, bro. Like, that's
now you come, told you to leave that bitch. Now you sleeping on my couch, nigga. You sleeping in my guest room. Look at you.
And especially when it's like, yo, I told you, like, that bitch ain't shit. But it's like, how can you tell me a bitch ain't shit when I've been with her since I was in high school? I had kids with her. It's like,
and I've been telling you since high school that shit wasn't shit, and you ain't want to believe
me. Though. That's how life be though. That's why I don't feel no type of way about Jamal. Like, Jamal, I never had, like, Jamel's always been nigga. Like, I watched, I'm like, man, that nigga really. But I'm like, hearing the reason why he ain't been, I'm like, that shit. Why? Like, I ain't like. That's why I really be advocating when it comes to the business side of boxing, because I'm like, it's the same thing with NBA. It's like, y'all got to give these niggas the benefit of that. They dealing with the same shit, but you got a nigga like Jaylen Brown. Like, this nigga's $308 million over 10 years. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
you got niggas struggling just to put gas in their car. You feel me?
That's a little over $60 million a year,
bro. You got niggas like, yo, do I want to put 10 in the whip or do I want to put 30 in the whip? Like, how do I want to struggle? Like, that's like, life is crazy, man. Like, when I really look at life, I'm like, life, like, this shit is wild.
This is what I'm not understanding. All right, if you get 5 niggas, all right, if you get 5 niggas, right, that's making that type of money, let's say if they all live in the same area, why don't they go to a couple hoods or a couple areas and build something? You know what I'm saying? And help the people in that community. Go to each You get 5 you get 5 to 10 people, right? Donate $1 million. That's $10 million for each city, each urban city. Whoever starts in each urban city, and you do whatever, and make sure ain't nobody homeless, make sure ain't nobody ain't on the streets. Why can't we do that?
So hear me out. Let's talk about it. Hear me out. So I used to think that way. I used to be like, you got all this money, why don't you help these people out? When you get to a certain point and you get a certain type of check, it don't even have to be crazy, right? It just has to be a number where you're like, I didn't expect that to happen.
Right.
I didn't expect that to see that. The first thing in your mind is definitely not, okay, I'm gonna help out the nigga who wasn't able to do this shit. That's the last shit in your mind. Every nigga that need help, every nigga that you feel like I'll make sure they right, that shit get pushed all the way to the back because what you thinking is like, well, shit. Well, if you was on some shit, you would have been able to do the same shit as me.
Nigga ain't got no basketball skills, no boxing skills.
I know, but I'm like, that's what they think. They think in their head, they was like, well, shit, you like, if I was able to get here, why couldn't you?
Right. But I'm not saying my man or my boy. I'm just saying just that community, period. Get with us.
I know, but hear me out. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The hypocritical word wrong.
Hypocritical
shit when it comes to this is where they're like, when they get the money, the first thing they're gonna think is, if I was able to do this, why wasn't you? Even though before they got it, before it all happens, like, I'm gonna help out this person, I'm gonna make sure this person's straight. But when they get it, they see it, then they're like, well, but damn, I like nigga, if I was able to do it, why the fuck you wasn't able to?
Yeah, but I'm not individual. I'm not talking about individual. I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about collectively. You know what I'm saying? And then have in that community, not John Blow. John Blow can come, Susie Q can come, this person can come, anybody can come to get helped out, whether it's job, whatever, boom, boom.
And I'm not saying that's the right mindset, by the way, too. That's not what I'm saying is the right mindset. I'm just saying that's how a lot of people see it.
No, I see what you saying. When niggas get money, be like, man, shit, they just took taxes out this motherfucker. I thought I had 60 million. I only got 47 now. Nah, man,
that's how they think. Like, bro,
no, man.
You gotta think about it. If you got a mindset where you're not used to getting money, which a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to our culture and stuff like that, we're not used to getting a certain type of money. When you do get it and then taxes happen, come to your account, shit like that, the first thing I think of is like, okay, I got it, but shit, I was expecting to get a lot more. And at the same time, it's like, well, shit, when I do get it, okay, if I got it, why the fuck can't X, Y, and Z get it? If I was capable of doing it, why can't they do it? Why I got to be the person to help them to get to that point? That's how it ends up coming. And and people don't realize when it comes to, respectfully, white communities, that's not how they see it. I don't say white communities give a handout or they just offer up their availability to people, but what they do is they have no problem saying, this is the knowledge or this is the steps that I took to be able to get here.
Yeah, but they also got programs. They also got computer programs. They also got things like that that's instilling in people. And don't forget,
that's availability. That's availability. That's saying like, this is what you need to do to be able to get here. We don't have that.
All right, so let's build availability for people then. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's do something. Let's say, oh, damn, I didn't know Jaylen Brown or I think it's Jason Tatum, but you say Jaylen Brown and such and such.
You're gonna look that shit up tomorrow. You're gonna see it's not Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has not got renewed on. It was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has the richest NBA contract right now. I know it's hard to believe because you like Jaylen Brown ain't the best player on the team.
No, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and a couple people like, oh, man, they built some resources.
Niggas struggling to buy milk, and they don't understand the second best player on the NBA team is making out of worldly numbers. Exactly. That's when you put shit into perspective. When you like, oh, I'm having trouble buying milk, and it's like, wait, Jaylen Brown isn't even Jason Tatum. This nigga got the richest contract in NBA history. He's gonna pay more than Steph Curry.
Go to the 10th man on the bench or the 8th man on the bench is getting Don't have to worry about getting where their milk coming from. Struggling to pay for some milk.
That's why I wish, goddamn. See, that's why I gotta be more consistent on this channel because I'm like, we be talking about real shit. I'm like, and I hate that it was towards the end because I'm like, a lot of niggas ain't gonna get to this. That's why I gotta start chopping shit up because I'm like, our people, man. I love our people to death, but I'm like, we gotta realize like how much we are getting taken advantage of.
Yes.
Stop letting us feel as if we have to have this specific talent and genre for us to make money. Nigga, you got to be in the NBA. Like, no. Like, you understand? There's people who's be able to talk, say things, and they're making a whole lot of money off of what we're doing.
Exactly. You know what I think it is too? I think it's the upbringing in the inner cities, and I think it's the churches in the inner cities. Period. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. In the inner cities, we have white teachers, white police, everything that's in over that you have to make a decision. We have to go to for a decision is white, right? Pretty much. So when you go to other places, you're looking at white people as a little superior when you're a kid, as growing up. So now you're brainwashed to that. So now you're like, oh, I got to get acceptance from this white man or this person. I need to go to maybe an Ivy League school, or I need to go do this, or damn, I'm a little nervous. I don't want to ask this white man for this or that, or I don't want to ask for a promotion, or because we stagnant with that. Now the churches don't let us know that we are black and we're kings in the Bible. See what I'm saying? And that we have a place in the Bible, and that who. So when you go to church, they don't talk about that. They talk about everything else. And then when the white people, or I'm gonna say Caucasians, when they start to depict and say, "Oh, Jesus is this color," "Oh, this is Jesus right here," as society, who we gonna believe? Because we've been brainwashed that white from Barbie dolls and from Ken dolls and everything like that. They ain't start making black dolls until when? 1980.
Yeah, let me even add to what you're saying. I don't even want to make this specifically about race, but race at the end of the day is like you can't avoid it. Where when you're in the church, like you said, like they don't want to make it simply about race. They're just saying certain things, but they don't understand that the pastor in the front of the pupil, right? He knows what he's doing. He knows I'm the top of the food chain. So he knows if I make them feel inferior to me, I'm going to make the most out of everything that's going on. Right? So people are going to be donating money. People are going to be willing to elevate him rather than elevating themselves.
Because they don't know what tithing means.
Exactly. Like we've been brainwashed. This to me, I'm not even going to say it. It's disgusting. We've been brainwashed where tithing is I got to give 5% or whatever the fuck it is to whoever the fuck I'm in the church I'm with. No. You shouldn't be giving money to anybody that you don't know or you don't actually believe in what they're actually doing or you don't understand what they're actually trying to contribute.
That's funny you said that too. I got a funny story for that. I left.
Go ahead. I'm just saying. I'm like when it comes to church, I'm like you'll go like you haven't even been in this church for a long period of time. I'm visiting a new church, but they're saying, all right, we're passing around tithes. Okay, I just feel obligated to. I'm like, that's how brainwashed we are. It's like, why are you giving 5% of what you worked hard for to some stranger? But then when you're driving around, you see a homeless person saying they need money, and you're willing to say like that motherfucker, hell no, I'm not gonna give him no money. But when you go to church, here's my money, 5%.
I'm with you. I went to this church, right? I'm a tither, so I do tithe 10%. I
don't believe in it. I don't even lie. I don't believe in tithing at all.
It works. I swear to you, it works. I swear, everything I love it when I put on my Father's grave, it works. And I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was at this one church, right? Boom, tithing or whatever, tithing. Then I'm like this. You speaking the same sermons, right? Right? And nothing around here is getting fixed. We ain't got no food pantry for nobody. We're now I'm giving it to God, but God is letting me know. Now He's giving me the knowledge of saying, look, it's time for you to get up out of here and find another home because they're not doing right with my tithing money. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be knowledgeable about that with yourself and don't get brainwashed in what you were saying on the hoopla and all of that, and giving a tithe and not know what you're tithing for. God's gonna give you that, because you walking around like, damn, why is the toilet still flooded after 4 years and it still floods down here? Why is the carpet still, you know what I mean? And everybody in here tithing. Now go to another church, right? This is what he'll say. We tithing, but if you go to another church, we don't want your tithe. It goes to that church. So we don't even want your money. You feel what I'm saying? If you go to another church, because that's their money to get their building fixed, to get their lights done, to have pantries, to have programs for kids and things like that for the community. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not doing that, then what are you here for? That's my outlook on it. You know what I'm saying? But when I don't tithe, you know, things go steady. But when I tithe, my money flows in. I'm like, damn, where I get this from? And I can see the difference, because when I don't tithe, it's a difference than when I do tithe. So
I ain't gonna feel no way. I respect that for sure, especially when you have someone who's open to it. So I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I'm like, you got someone who's open, being realistic. Like that's my whole thing. It's like it's not even about
like,
the like the rules or the beliefs or whatever the case may be. It's just all about being fair. All about being realistic. It's all about being upfront. It's all about being like, this is what it is.
yeah,
And it's the
all
same thing. I'm like, I don't know how we got into this, but I'm like, even with Ty, like the same thing with boxing, all that stuff. It's like, that's all I'm about. Like, let's take it for what it is, and let's stop trying to wrap it up and trying to make it seem like it's something it's not.
right, exactly. And explain to me, make me understand why you doing what you doing.
That's it.
And
And I can choose.
I have a choice. And if you like it, you don't, you don't. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And most people don't understand that. And most people don't understand church, believe it or not. They go in there so
I think they do. I think they do, but they choose not to, because that's
they
probably a
don't.
whole different topic. But I'm like, it makes shit more controversial. It makes you it allows you to be like, if this is my belief, I can fight against whatever that you saying or whatever you talking about. Like
Let me,
being
nigga,
I don't want to say detrimental, but that's the only word that's coming to me right now because that's how I'm feeling. But I'm like, being detrimental is a lot more rewarding to being agreeable, to being understanding.
I can
You know
see
what I'm
that.
saying?
I can see that. I tell you like this: if you want to know somebody who really believe in God, whatever, if they get sick or whatever, see who they go turn to, see what they do, see if they start
How it
talking.
always goes.
See, they start talking to their friends and like, you know, this is happening to me. When they get sick, talking about like, oh, I'm sick, I don't feel well. They giving the power to the enemy right there. You're supposed to say, nah, I feel well. Even though you don't feel well, you're supposed to say, nah, I feel better. I feel, you know what I'm saying?
But as soon as they okay though, you know what I'm saying? That shit go out the way.
Yeah, that should go
Yeah,
out the
wait,
window.
nigga, you said I said what? No, I just said that I was good, nigga, the whole time. Like, nigga, I was healthy.
It's got cancer. Now they tell everybody can't. You know, Georgia got cancer. You know, Georgia got cancer. Now you spreading to everybody. Now you really going to have cancer. Now it's going to spread. Now it's going to fester because you gave it legs.
God.
That's for people to go to church or not, or that believe in God or into their word. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. I won't lie. We went from boxing, whole different shit. Went to
Or-
this. That's why, like, I appreciate you. Let's talk about coming up here. I want to keep going, but I won't lie. I'm trying to do better. Like as I get older, I'm trying to have like better times when I go to sleep. Like it's later at night, so I'm like,
Yeah.
you got any last words for the people you want to talk about before we get up out of here?
Follow me on Let's Talk About It 1414. You know what I'm
Yo,
saying? We're talking about like battle rap. I just dropped 2 blogs on high blood pressure and diabetes. How to
let them
reverse.
know on that, especially when it comes to our community for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
I want to do that. And you know,
I check
talk about,
that out.
and then I want to talk about other topics too. So you know, come in there and hit your like and subscribe button in the comments. Say you want to talk about. We talk about. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can go live or whatever. Or I might have to go get StreamYard. You know, and just do what I do. So
You
yeah,
doing? Keep showing love. I'm gonna be back. My goal is to be back tomorrow. I'm trying to go live every day. This particular week, I don't know if that's gonna be something that's gonna be consistent. But I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things when it comes to the YouTube channel. We got a big fight, obviously, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. That's what this live was based off of. We're gonna have a good time. Fluent Lounge. It's gonna be right before the 200 episode 199. We'll have a good time watching that. But either way it goes, I really appreciate you. Let's talk about it coming out here. We had some really good conversation, really, really in-depth shit, man. Some shit I didn't even think I was gonna talk about, but I
That's what I
appreciate you, bro. So I'm like, if I go live tomorrow, man, if you want to come through tomorrow, because I'm like, that was some good talk. Go ahead.
You know, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for. We talk about all different topics, baby, organically. Nothing
All
for.
day.
You know what I'm
Y'all
saying?
niggas pay attention. Y'all pay attention. We giving y'all game, especially y'all young niggas. I don't know how many y'all young niggas up in here. I know it's probably not a lot. There's some.
They catch it.
Manuel Carrillo, J Rocks. I know J Rocks, you a young nigga. Our West, I was hoping he was gonna get up in here.
Yeah,
He said
what?
Young West. He said 1 sec, and then we ain't heard, but it's all good. When we back, I already know the actual stream for Terence Crawford or Errol Spence probably is gonna be a good time. But I appreciate you. Real, let's talk about it. I'll be back tomorrow. My goal is to be back tomorrow. I'm not gonna promise that, but my goal is to be back tomorrow because I'm trying to stay consistent and get back to the whole thing. But
They'll come up, hit
any
me up.
other word.
I'll slide through or something. You know what I'm saying?
So we're gonna be on. I'm out of here for the night. Double salute. You feel me? Enjoy the rest of your night. Appreciate you. Let's talk about it. We about it, man. Good time. Great stream. For real.